Dude, you know what it is? I had this problem last night as well. It's Skype, and I
Okay.
had the problem with Brendan, and for some reason, and it might be because we've got the camera on, I don't know, but you have to phone TFR first, and it's just weird. It's just a Skype glitch.
Yeah.
One of many, you know.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're here, end of the week. Yeah, we're going to have a bit of a surprise for everyone tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Because one of the biggest kind of paranormal, UFO, alternative get-togethers is happening right now at Contact in the Desert. And at times I've called it the Con in the Desert. I've gone into that with people like Ryan Gable last week on the show. And talking to Ryan, he is going to be our man on the ground at Contact.
Which you've already had some pretty extensive contact.
Well, I have had a bit of contact there. Will we listen to the contact that I've had already from Contact in the Desert? Get a load of this, folks.
You should be here, Kev.
Next year, guys. Next year, definitely.
We're saying your name in Dane everywhere. We're saying Kev Baker. We're telling everybody about Kev Baker, and they're all like, well, where is he? And we say, Scotland.
He's near the lock.
Near the lock. Hanging out with our little slimy friend, Mr. Nessie. Miss Nessie. Anyway.
I just wanted to stop by and say hi.
So that was Clyde Lewis, yes?
Yeah, you know, because that's how Uncle Kevy rolls here now, you know, as he's got Vladdy on the red phone. And then, of course, you know, you got Uncle Clyde. And they're having a great time down there. And what a woo fest that is.
Oh, dude, it's like the ultimate in Woo Fest. I'll just get some of the.
Call it like, would it be like a Woo Comic Con almost?
I think so. For me, it's one of the biggest ones on the kind of Woo map. You know how there's like, I would say so. Get a load of this, right? This is the top line, I guess, alone. George Norrie. Goes without any introduction. Giorgio Tzoukalos, our man with the. Yeah. Graham Hancock. I'm saying it tonight. I think he's my next albatross. He's the one I'm going to go for next, Joe.
Okay.
Then one I wouldn't be going to see myself, but hey, each to their own. Maybe some people out there like a bit of blue chicken. David Wilcock. So
no. Yeah, see, you're right. I would probably be taking like lunch at that time or something.
Yeah. Well, Ryan says he will try maybe to get in when Wilcock's speaking. No, I'm only joking. But
let me say this. Let me preface it with that. It's not necessarily a bad thing to listen to opposing viewpoints or ones that you might not necessarily believe in, or maybe you have a disagreement with said presenter, Kev. You know, it's I've done that before and sat through it, albeit like trying to keep my food in my stomach. But it's not necessarily a bad thing to take advantage of listening to that too, because you might get something out of it.
Well, if you're going to criticize it the way that I do, I think it's only fair that I do take the time.
So what you're saying is that you don't necessarily just make fun of it without watching it or reading it?
No, there's a backstory to all of this, and it's a lot more serious than just me.
So you're not like the rest of the world. Shame.
I'm a bit like the rest of the world. Don't get me wrong. Certainly not perfect here. Shame on me. Shame on you.
Shame on me.
Well, I'm going to dip my toe into the chat room in just a moment, Joe, but we've got a message from Ryan here, so give me one moment.
By all means.
I'll let you entertain the audience right now.
Okay, so before we hit the ever so popular shout out of the Wookiee Cave, I'll start out tonight with some Facebookery, because there is some Facebookery going on. Specifically, I find this kind of interesting. Facebook lawyers are arguing that users have no expectation of privacy. As a matter of fact, they argue that privacy basically no longer exists. I would have to, it's one of those agree-disagree things. This is a lawyer from Facebook argued in court Wednesday that the social media site users have no expectation of privacy. According to Law 360, Facebook attorney Oren Snyder made the comment while defending the company against a class action suit over the Cambridge Analytica scandal. He says there's no invasion of privacy at all because there is no privacy, Snyder said. In an attempt to have the lawsuit thrown out, Snyder further claimed that Facebook was nothing more than a digital town square where users voluntarily give up their private information. It says you have to closely guard something to have reasonable expectation of privacy, Snyder said. Now, although Snyder said that the social media site would be focused more on privacy in the future, U.S. District Judge Vince Chahabria reportedly pushed back on Facebook's argument. Chahabria said, according to law.com, quote, "What you're saying now sounds contrary to the message that Facebook itself disseminates about privacy." The Daily Dot reached out for a comment, but did not receive a reply. They're also the authoring website. Now, Snyder's statement came just hours before Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg told shareholders during their annual meeting Thursday that Facebook would become a privacy-focused social platform. The meeting was held at the Hotel Nina in Palo Alto, California. It was also met with protests by civil liberties groups calling for Zuckerberg's firing. A proposal at the meeting was to have Zuckerberg step down as CEO, but that was voted down, however, given the fact that, oh, by the way, Facebook co-founder Zuckerberg controls the majority of the votes. So anything like that, of course, would be struck down because all he has to do is say, no, next. So what do you have here? You have Facebook that basically says when you download Facebook on your device, whether it be your computer, whether it be your smartphone, whether it be a tablet, doesn't matter what. As long as that thing is in your presence, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy. And you basically sign any rights you have away when you download this thing because it's part of their terms of use. So I guess they're right. If you use Facebook, then you have no reasonable expectation of privacy because you voluntarily give it up. That's what Kevin and I have been talking about.
For how long?
With these devices, yeah. You know, everybody talks about Mark of the Beast being a chip or an implant. Why? It's outdated. You don't need to do that anymore. You know, biometrics will more than take care of that. You don't need a chip. And then you take a look at things like this. Facebook is not a social media platform. It's an intelligence operation that has been in use now for well over God knows how many years. It's been what, 15? How long has Facebook been around?
That's actually a good question, dude. I'll need to check.
I can't remember, but it's been a while now, right? So when it came out, of course, you know, government seed money, big contributor here. It's an intelligence gathering site is what it is. And, you know, it's a government-private partnership, and the government gets what it wants via a mode that it could not do itself because it would violate the Constitution. Facebook doesn't violate the Constitution because you voluntarily give your rights up to be a part of the website.
2003, it was the Facebook, one word, and then you had the Thiel, Peter Thiel. He got his money in there.
Yeah.
And that's when it got branded to a Facebook.
Facebook.
Of course, the rest then is pretty much history, right?
How do you like that?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's
and
the interesting thing.
Don't forget the brilliant piece of info that Scott brought along about how the Pentagon's LifeLog program, something that was basically looking for people to give up their own information online. You know, it'd be a way we would share our own pictures, we would tag ourselves, we would train the AI, but they just couldn't market it, right? And then on the very same day they wrapped that up, the Facebook happened to be born. You know, color me conspiratorial, Joe. Bit like dinky, that one, right? Just saying.
Nothing to see here, of course.
Well, it wouldn't be Freaky Friday if we didn't dip our toe in.
By all means, to the Wookiee cave with you.
And we'll be getting Ryan, I think, after the first break. I think
Very
we're getting
good.
Ryan
Well,
on the phone.
I've got more Facebook news as soon as you're done Wookieing. Yo.
Sounds good to me, right? So are the Wookiees all ready?
I think so.
Here we go then.
Dive in.
Dive in.
You can
sure?
do it if you put
Keep
your mind
moving.
to it.
I'm not good at building the anticipation, dude. Here we go.
No.
We've got Sophia, the synthetic one,
The synthetic one.
is in there. We've got TFR, Wookie, Just a Guy, my brother. We've got Regular Girl, Lynn, Ken, all the way from Down Under. Rose, Contentious Plan. Daryl, how you doing, brother? We've got Non-Profit Freedom. Silamo, Joseph Skynet. Bill 13, not unlucky for some when it's Bill. We've got Joe Joseph in there. Waffle Buddy. Munchies, Joe. Could you not go a waffle?
Sweet Jesus.
Oh, dude. Some cream on it.
Mm.
Okay. We've got Brass Neck in there. Tony Phillips. Okay, we've got Shih Tzu. Bigaloo 2. That's a brilliant name. We've got Epic Journeyman. Paradoxical Anomaly. Yeah, I'll spit that one out again. Paradoxical Anomaly. We've got Jenna Tolls. I like that. Drone Free Zone. How you doing, Drone? We've got Bison in there. Bison is the one who was letting us know, Joe, that the cheese rolling championships would be televised by Sky Sports. I love you,
Very
Bison.
good.
Absolutely.
Dude, that is something else. I can't believe what people do to themselves.
Well, we've got Friendly Habitant, last but not least, in there. And of course, anyone can take part and go and get hang out in the Wookiee Cave. It's totally free. You go to tfrlive.com/chat.
Yeah, I know. When the weather gets good, you always know when the weather gets good because the Wookiees are out and about. They're not hibernating in the cave like they normally do. And, but if you want to join the interactive, very, very interactive conversation, just go to tfrlive.com/chat and enjoy the experience. And boy, oh boy, is it ever an experience.
It's always an experience. Even just with us two, listening to us two, it must be an experience.
Must be, yeah. Oof.
Imagine you're like just driving along, Joe.
Yeah.
You've got your iHeart Radio or your TuneIn Radio app, and you're thinking, I want to try something new. What's this truth frequency? Freaky Friday? That sounds pretty interesting. And then
I'll bet you traffic accidents spike when that happens.
Telling you, dude.
They said what?
So come on, tell me what else has been happening with Facebook.
So Zuckerberg's security chief, according to the San Francisco Gate, has been placed on leave amid a racism investigation. Now, how is it that the all omniscient, all good, all judgmental Facebook have a racist security chief? How does that happen? Yeah, kind of.
Hang on. We best see what crime he's committed here.
Yes, let's go. So Mark Zuckerberg's personal security chief's been placed on administrative leave amid allegation that he made racist and homophobic remarks about people, including the Facebook founder's wife.
Not a good move.
Rutro Raggy. Liam Booth allegedly made the remarks about Zuckerberg's wife, Priscilla Chan, and some of the employees at their household. Business Insider reported earlier, citing legal letters from the former household staff. A spokesman for Zuckerberg and Chan family office has said Booth had been placed on leave while an outside law firm investigates. It didn't confirm the precise nature of the allegations. The family's office takes complaints of the workplace misconduct very seriously. It sounds like it's a house affair dealing with like his house staff. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we'll get into it in a second, but it's like his house. He's got so many people working in his house. It's like he's got an HR office for his house staff. It's crazy.
He's a crazy kind of guy. I mean, if you ever met him,
yeah.
I don't mean to go after the guy like ad hominem attack.
You can't help it, though.
He's a creepy dude. He's just
He
a creepy.
is.
Yeah.
So anyway, the family office takes complaints of workplace misconduct very seriously, the spokesman told Bloomberg News in an email. The allegations against Liam Booth were brought to the office's attention for the first time by the Bloom firm after both former employees had left employment by the family office and engaged legal counsel. Lisa Bloom of the Bloom firm confirmed by email that she represents the two individuals who have raised claims. She declined to identify the people involved or share details on the allegations. Booth is a former Secret Service officer, according to his LinkedIn profile. And he didn't immediately reply to a message. But Facebook's costs for Zuckerberg's personal protection amounted to $9.96 million in 2018. Yeah. The chief executive officer also gets an additional annual $10 million allowance to cover security expenses for himself and his family. $10 million, Kev.
Check this out, Joe. I've got a story here, and this was just, not that long ago. March the 11th, comes from the Inquirer. Facebook Mark Zuckerberg has an escape chute in his office boardroom.
Really?
Yep. It says,
wait a minute. How? But out of curiosity, in Palo Alto, I think that's where the his office is.
It will be, yeah, I think so.
Oh, so that's the future office? Is that right?
Will be. Well.
Okay, so I just want to hear how high this is because I find it hard to believe that he's anywhere with like a skyscraper. Come on.
It'd be like that one in Jamie and the Magic Torch. Do you remember that cartoon, dude?
I do.
Yeah, that's what it'll be like, him going down on the magic carpet,
Oh, my God. Could you imagine?
Zuckerberg.
And he's weird, too. He's weird looking, too. So it'd be really weird looking at that
As
point.
long as he never tries to grow one of these hipster beards. Because
You know what he reminds me of? Honest to God, when I see him, I think of him like putting on a turban and like a shawl. And I don't know if you remember the movie Mystery Men.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one that threw the silverware. For some reason, he just reminds me of that, or maybe even the spleen, like Pee Wee Herman.
The spleen. I mean, you talk about people that are cloned and things like that. It's a big conversation nowadays in our circles. If I had any character, and I'm not saying he is, but if I had to put somebody forward from like the public kind of eye, somebody out there, celebrity, it would have to be him. His looks, his awkwardness, and then you see him drinking that water at the kind of congressional hearings and things. There's something just wrong about this dude.
Man, he's the kind of guy, I think, that, look, there he is right there, drinking the water. It's
right, man.
No, there's something seriously wrong about, he's probably that guy. If he was around in like the late 19th, early 20th century, he was that guy drinking the radon water.
Oh, absolutely.
He is. Oh, it's all the rage. Oh, I feel so energized.
I bet you he's sitting washing down his dinner with the MMS bleach every day right now. Right?
The holy sacrament, yeah.
Dude, what is that? That's
Clorox.
That's getting pushed hardcore. Hardcore, dude.
You know what, though? What people argue with me on that? They say, well, what's the difference between drinking that and food-grade hydrogen peroxide? A lot of people drink that, too, which I think is asinine that somebody would even think to do that. I mean, okay, hydrogen peroxide has many uses, but 35% concentration is mad. I mean, it's like it's salad dressing that burns your freaking skin. That's the kind of. So why would you drink that or bleach or anything like that? It's not good, man. It's not good.
No, absolutely not.
It's like the Tide Pod challenge. It's no different. You're drinking laundry detergent. Just think about that. That's the way I look at it. You're drinking laundry detergent.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. It's another symptom of the kind of crazy world we're living in. Yeah,
oh my
just
God.
one of many symptoms, by the way. tens of thousands of symptoms that you can look around and see all around you every day, you know?
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. So we got about 6 minutes until we get some communication from the desert.
Yeah.
That's gonna be pretty interesting. And I'm hearing about the experience and
Absolutely, man, because we've got, I mean, there's other characters. There's so many people there. Nassim Haramein, have you ever looked into his stuff, Joe?
no, I
He
have.
talks about like holographic universes and fractals and, oh, dude,
That sounds
amazing.
like
Linda Moulton Howe had her on KBS. Eric von Daniken, you know, a bit famous there when it comes to the old UFOs and the Chariots of the Gods. That was his big work, right? We've got David Adair. That's a new name on me. Emery Smith. Yeah, on the fence with that one. He should be right up beside David Wilcock. Don't know, though. We've got Michael Tellinger now. There's a cat, right? He done all the kind of circles. What are you saying?
I just totally lost you. My connection got severed, but I'm back
You're
now.
perfect, dude. You're with me. You're there. You're in this dimension. Yeah, I was just
Thank
saying, Tellinger's there, man. Love his work. He talks about something called Ubuntu.
Yes. That's a very interesting subject.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Then
So
you
yeah,
got Michael Sala, another big name, you know.
big name.
Richard Dolan, one of the leading ufologists out there, especially after the passing now of Stanton Friedman.
Stanton Friedman, yeah.
Paul Hynek, and I believe that's I believe he's the son of the Hynek that was part of Project Blue Book. I could be wrong on that though. Yeah, Russell Targ. Russell Targ's an interesting character. I believe he worked alongside the likes of Hal Puthoff at one point, Joe.
Oh wow.
Don't
wow.
quote me on that one. Don't quote me
Okay.
on that one. Nick Pope, he's our
Yeah, Nick Pope, he's a big one.
ex-MOD
Yeah.
cat that wouldn't come on KBS. Not that
boy.
better.
Not then. I'll bet you come on now. I'll bet you come on now.
David Childress.
Yep.
Cool. You see him all the time on Ancient Aliens.
Yes, you do.
Peter Lavenda. Obviously, he talks the UFO stuff for a long, long time. Not heard him in a while, actually.
Yeah.
New name here, Daryl Sims. I've not heard of that one. Jacques Vallée. No less.
I don't recall that guy.
Okay, here we go. Jacques Vallée. He's wrote a few books, Joe.
Okay.
He's quite prominent in it all.
No, I mean the brain power at this place.
Here we go. Dr. Jacques Vallée was born in France, where he received a Bachelor's of Science in Mathematics at Sorbonne and an MS in Astrophysics at Lille University, coming to the US as an astronomer at the University of Texas, where he co-developed the first computer-based map of Mars for NASA. Jacques later moved to Northwestern University, where he received his PhD in computer science and AI, and served as a close associate of Dr. J. Allen Hynek, the Air Force consultant on unidentified flying objects. It says here he was a principal investigator for DARPA.
Oh, DARPA. I like how you said that. Dark. You should just call it DARCA.
DARCA.
Because it's quite dark.
Oh, dude, mad. We've got Adam Apollo. I hope he's talking about the moon. That would be quite apt. We've got Mary Rodwell. It's a new name on me as well. We've got
So there's all these people, and how long? Let me ask you this: how long is the
Contact in the Desert? I think it's a full weekend. I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Jimmy Church, he'll be there. We've got.
It's okay. It's okay, Kev. Okay.
Not saying a word. Not saying a word.
It's all right.
Clyde Lewis, the main man, Clyde, absolutely loved Clyde.
Let me tell you something, man. I'm so glad that he's there. Considering the health issues that he's had, just the ability for him to be there right now is a pretty cool thing.
I think a lot of people don't appreciate that. And, you know, people say I do a daily show. The kind of show I do is one thing. But Clyde puts in like 8 hours of hard research, putting together the music montages, getting the guests. Him and Ron.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that really is him. And on top of the health worries, plus the fact that him and Ron, you know, they're always there behind the scenes. What the audience don't see is that they're giving me guest suggestions if I need to get anyone on that he's had on. They're so approachable, you know, there's no competition. They're just really genuinely good people. We've got Laura Eisenhower. She's going to be there.
Very nice. Yep.
It's the Galactic Librarian, I think, or the Galactic Archivist. I think Ryan was saying she calls herself these days.
Is that right?
Yeah. Good job. Wouldn't mind that. We've got Ray Hernandez. Now, Brian Forster, there's an interesting dude, Joe. He does all the Egypt and South America, all the ancient stuff.
Very good. Very good.
It's work. Yeah, but we're almost on the break now. We can run through more of these, but more importantly, we can go live.
Let's just go live.
Let's not talk about it, folks. Let's get boots on the ground.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't have an intrepid reporter over at Bilderberg, but we do have somebody at Contact.
The hell with Bilderberg.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Part 2 of today's Freaky Friday with me, Kev Baker, and my other man in the Woo crew here, Joseph. And Joe, we were saying before the show, heck of a lonely here on the old Freaky Friday now. He only makes it from time to time. And of course, now we've lost Scott. He's MIA for a few weeks. I think he gets his operation around the 20th of June or so. So we obviously wish him a very speedy recovery when that comes along. But, not half lonely, eh?
Boy, I'll tell you what, it sure is. But even more importantly, you truly realize how important Scotty is, to the chemistry of Freaky Friday. Just unbelievably important. He comes off as kind of reserved and low-key, but I mean, you peel back the layers of the onion that is Scott, and it's just an amazing thing. And what he gives is just unbelievable, just an unbelievable human being, and can't wait for him to come back. Really, it's just...
No, you're right there. Yes, you don't realize what you've got until it's gone.
Oh, gosh, you going to start singing, dude?
I could do, couldn't I? But no, listen, I want to give a really special shout out to a couple of wonderful individuals, and it's a couple of people called Aurora and Kevin. It's their birthdays today, Joe. So I don't know if they're twins, maybe. Yeah, sounds like they might be twins. Birthday. But yeah, Non-Profit Freedom in the chat room was saying it's their birthdays. So
very good.
Yeah. And we're waiting for Ryan to get in touch with us. And as soon as Ryan does, we'll go live to Contact in the Desert. We've got the full show to fill here, though.
Oh, man, we got plenty of stuff to talk about.
We're talking deep woo because of Contact at the Desert, right?
Absolutely.
And I was seeing Bison in the chat room. I said I'd bring this up. There's somebody out there called James Casbolt, Joe. Now, I've never really looked into him that much.
Me neither.
From what I know, he's one of the I believe he's one of the British side of the Super Soldier program, or claims to be. And it says here about the DUMS, the deep underground military bases in the Brecons, and something called the Experiments. Now, I've had one of these super soldiers on the show before, Captain K, Randy Kramer, and you've really got to keep a very open mind when it comes to these stories. And that's not to kind of diss anyone who claims to come from that world of super soldiers, things like that. However, it's very hard to verify any of the stuff that comes from that kind of whistleblower. And I find it quite interesting, just quite interesting, that in a climate where we've seen what happens to Bradley stroke Chelsea Manning for releasing military information, we've seen what's happening to Julian Assange for daring to publish any information that's been leaked from the military or elsewhere. Yeah. And I find it curious that if these people have come from super soldier programs, they're able to go on, the world tour of speaking, things like Contact in the Desert or Basis Project over here in the UK. Now, again, I'm not being kind of nasty or anything like that, but you got to think logically about this. And on the other side of that, sure, if somebody's escaped that kind of programming, and I'm not saying that programming doesn't exist, that's not the case here.
Right.
How could they prove it? And people will say that, how could they take something outside, photographs or anything like that? And I get that. I get the level of secrecy and things, but that's why I'm telling you, you can't go all in and just take them at face value.
No.
Yes,
Well,
sure,
you
listen
know-
to the information. And Joe, the reason these stories are really so interesting is because a lot of it is actually factual information, like deep underground military bases.
Very much so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Military experimentation. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Do they have super soldier programs? I would absolutely think so. But
Well, no, there's been plenty of documented super soldier experimentation and implementation.
I love the stories. That's why I've had Captain K on the show, things like that.
So I for one, first of all, I think there's always legitimacy, even if that person can't, we can't verify that the person's story is authentic. You can take a look at enough of unclassified data and just what's commercially available and figure out that there's certainly uses in the defense arena,
And
right?
there's ways to find out if people have been in the military during the time that they have said they've been there. There are like checks you can do to verify some aspects of these stories. Again, I'm not saying that they're all bunkum. I'm really not. But you've just got to keep an open mind on it, a really open mind. And at a time when we're living through this whole debacle of the blue chicken cult and people on the inside of Gaia, and I don't trust Gaia either way, but telling us that they were aware that this was all made up from the start, That's why I'm saying, the more fantastic the story, probably the more you have to kind of dig into that and not take it at
But
face value.
I would still read it though.
Yeah.
Because again, you use your discernment and
But
you
it becomes
take
dangerous, but it becomes dangerous, Joe, and this is the only reason I bring up the blue chicken cult, because
Sure.
these people run hate groups, secret groups over on Facebook and things, where they go out and instruct people that they've brainwashed into the fact that they're telling the truth and things. These people are idolized by some of their fans. That's what's happening here. It's like almost a cult of celebrity. And then these people are instructed to go out and dox others. Others just for questioning. That's why, there's a lot of lies out there. You can't expose all of it, but when you see something like that's really bad crap going on.
Yeah, that's bad everything. But this again speaks to the importance of impartiality and ensuring that you don't box yourself in. And if you do that, then you can look at this kind of information with an unbiased viewpoint, or no viewpoint at all, basically, is you just go in and...
That's why we brainstorm it and speculate,
Sure.
Joe, right? We can look at it from all
best way to
sides.
handle it.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
Best way to handle it. I got something else, too. Since we're talking about defense, and we're talking about super soldiers, and specifically, getting pissed off that the government's doing these types of things in our name with our money, I found this very interesting. Military Times says the DOD bought phony military gear made. Oh, yes.
Link me up.
I'm going to link. Hold on. You know how this thing is. Of course, it's not.
Keep them right, ladies and gents,
Yes, hold on one second.
I'll fact check Joe on the fly here,
Even though I had already linked you up via Facebook.
Because Joe used to work for the government. So.
I don't know what you're talking. Yes, of course. I'm from the government and I'm here to help, Kev.
Obviously, Joe. Obviously.
Okay, so there's the link. Okay,
Sir.
DOD bought phony military gear made in China, including counter night vision clothing that didn't actually work. Now, this is interesting. It says U.S. military, government agencies, and other purchasers bought more than $20 million worth of Chinese-made counterfeit goods designed to look like domestically produced gear from a company that defrauded the government and helped to orchestrate the counterfeiting process between January 2013 and October 2018, according to Justice Department officials. The counterfeit gear included 200 specialized parkas designed to counter night vision goggles that would have been used by the U.S. Air Force personnel stationed in Afghanistan. But the multicam Apex parkas sold to an unnamed U.S. Air Force Base Supply Center didn't actually do that, which could have put troops' lives at risks. Those types of parkas use a near-infrared technology woven into the fabric that's designed to make the wearer more difficult for enemy forces to detect with equipment such as night vision goggles. The counterfeit versions, however, lacked the near-infrared technology unbeknownst to the wearer. The sales were in violation of the Berry Amendment and the Trade Agreements Act, which require goods sold to the military and certain government buyers to be manufactured in either the United States or select countries.
The Dangleberry Amendment, more like. You know, when I was in the military, Joe, I mean, back in the first Gulf War, they used to call us, like the British Army, the borrowers, because we had absolutely nothing, dude. Absolutely nothing. All we had that was any use at all was our S-10 respirators. And I was told at the time, you know, the American soldiers, they would swap anything to get one of our S-10s and a couple of the canisters. And if it wasn't for that, our soldiers would have had no kit whatsoever, dude.
Yeah, no doubt. So it's absolutely right. They're not supposed to be sourced from a foreign country like that. And so what this company did...
Let's go to our enemy. Let's get our war fighting kit from our enemy.
Isn't that interesting? So these things were bound for Afghanistan, for people in Afghanistan, like a theater, right? And here they are. Or they may have like a set of colognes and go and like, you know, maybe be on the offensive, if you will, thinking that they're covered when they're really not. Oops. You know, and here's China in the background. Ha, 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 ha. But the way it's supposed to happen is it's supposed to be manufactured by that company in Brooklyn that just outsourced it instead, unbeknownst to the U.S. government. So that's why they're being charged. But this is the problem with lowest bidder, right? Because you now are at a point where people are resorting to underhanded ways to win the contracts because of the increased competition. Because, you know, a government contract, that's about the best, most reliable customer that you can get. They pay on time. They never miss a payment up until recently. But they really don't. I mean, it's like money in the bank when you get a government contract. And there's been a real explosion in the amount of minority-owned or woman-owned companies, or 8A companies, as they're called here in the United States, Kev. And because of that, you have a tremendous amount of competition. That's exactly the kind of contract that this would be like a small business set aside 8A. And it's something that I dealt with extensively when I was a project manager for the government. And these types of rules are put in place so that situations like this doesn't occur. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised that, first of all, that this is going as far as it is. But then again, I'm not. And first of all, I don't advocate anything that the government does. I'm so over our government and people trying to defend it. And we'll get into a little bit more of that later, because my jaw dropped again when you just told me what Jonesy had said about
2 days on the trot, dude. 2 days on the trot.
Lee, man. I mean, I'm beside myself. But this is wrong. I mean, you're putting people's lives in danger intentionally, and they know what they're doing. And that's why these laws exist.
I'll have the clip, by the way, when we get there, because we won't just tell people to take our word for it when we say somebody says something. We'll let you hear it for yourself, so there can be absolutely no gray areas. It's not taken out of context. You'll hear it in its full.
Can't believe it. I cannot believe what was said.
After yesterday,
That's what I mean. I thought Mike Adams was, maybe just having a moment. But it's not.
They have been drinking from the trough of Trump aid.
But listen, man.
Long, dude.
The only way this ends is drinking the Kool-Aid and biting the glass capsule.
I'm telling you, man. And we'll line that up during one of the breaks because I'll need to find it. Obviously. But when it was said on air, I took a note of the time, so I do know roughly when it is, Joe. So it'll not be hard for us to find. But you're talking about the military stuff there. And I remember over the years, hearing stories about, and I've got no reason to disbelieve them, about the fact that the Chinese, they've made half of the or most of the electronic circuit boards and the chips and things that are in fighter jets and stuff. That's just insane, dude.
But it gets better than that. It gets even better than that because since we're talking about that, they have a monopoly, basically, or a damn close monopoly on rare earth elements.
Yeah.
So when you talk about tech, right, they're highly reliant on China, not just to mine it, but to process it. So much so that the only rare earth element mine that we have here, they still send it to China to be processed half the time because they're just so much better at it than we are. And that's bad. And that's not something that you fix overnight. And so if tech takes a hit because of a trade war, your phone, and Kev, how many years have we been saying this about iPhones, for example, go from $1,000 to $4,500. Computers are going to go up through the roof. If we have to start recycling all these rare earth elements, holy smoke, it's going to get bad. That's why I don't think that when they pull, and I don't even think they've pulled the trigger on that, but if they do, that's a toughie. I don't know how he responds. And to be quite honest with you, I'm troubled by it because these are how live wars begin. Most times it has to do with some sort of economic turmoil. And then it gets nasty. So that's what's got me spooked, Kev.
Yeah. Then it goes hot, as they say.
Yeah, you don't want it to go hot.
No,
that's garbage. Yucca.
But we know that's one of the kind of things on the table for the globalists to get their final kind of pieces in place. We know it's there, along with the economic collapse, along with, we were talking about, fake alien invasions, real alien invasions, no alien invasion threats. All these things are potential kind of moves they can make. That's why I keep an eye on things like this. Because like you say, Joe, it starts economically, but that can soon then escalate. Especially when you got somebody like Trump in there. Love him or hate him, he's bombastic and he's quite reactionary. We've seen that with Syria, with the Proven false flag, where he went rushing in with Macron and Theresa Mayhem. Just because Ivanka was crying because of the images of the kids, the images of the kids that had been dragged off the street and been made to look like something had happened. We found that out in the aftermath. But my point is, we can see he's no different from the rest of them. No. Obama, the drone strike president, and then you had Bush before him, another one that loved his war. It's not them, it's the agenda, they're just the face to push it.
No, but how do you defend that? How do you defend that? We'll get into that later. All I can say, folks, is make sure you have Pepto-Bismol handy because you're going to need it.
Oh, you are. This is going to be stomach churning. It truly, truly is.
So, let's go a wee bit off the deep end, shall we? I think it would be a great thing to discuss.
Okay, where are we going now, Joe?
According to the Express.
Oh, no.
Very reputable, very well-sourced Express. Says the Bermuda Triangle mystery's been solved.
Oh, dang, dude.
Scientist explains theory of unexplained disappearances. That's right. It's
bomb gas.
We'll get there in just a second, Kev, but let me just say this. Now, do you need the link or
I'm finding it here, dude. I remember you sent me it.
I did. I sent everything on Facebook.
I've got it, dude.
Where there's no reasonable expectation of privacy whatsoever.
None.
Just so we're clear. So we're absolutely 100% clear. All right. So 50 ships, 20 planes have been just wiped out due to the Bermuda Triangle. Says University of Southampton researcher Dr. Simon Boxall believes the mystery can be explained by rogue waves. Rogue waves are large and unexpected waves which can be extremely large to ships and dangerous. Dr. Boxall told Channel 5 documentary The Bermuda Triangle Enigma. Ooh.
Will we listen to said Dr. Boxall?
I think so.
Here we go. He was the associate professor at oceanography.
Wait a minute, say that again. Was?
I was because
Was he fired?
The minute you start talking about the Bermuda Triangle and you get published in the Express, it's career suicide. Here we go.
This is an area that suffers from things called rogue waves. Rogue waves occur in areas where you get 2 or 3 storms that come together, and the waves effectively add up. And it means that every so often out of the blue, you get a 30-meter wave that can cause, obviously...
Okay, a 30-meter wave. Right, cool. That explains maybe some of the ships. What about the planes? I've got a problem with really, really giant, like maybe 20,000 foot high waves.
Really low flying planes at the time.
Yeah, they must be like hovering, like almost like boats. Do you know what I mean? There's a fine line between flying and sailing, Dr. Boxall.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think it's one of these, I think it's a natural vortex. I say a natural vortex, okay, and I think these vortex locations form on planets.
Okay.
You can look up at the spot on Jupiter, the storm, the 19.5 longitude.
What about Earth spots like Ben Davidson talks about, where you have basically a influx of what do you call it? Solar particles, and they create what he calls Earth spots, or what Dutch Sense focuses on, you know, with the earthquakes and
some kind of cosmic ray coming in.
Some sort of something, right? That or an anomaly, some sort of magnetic anomaly.
I would imagine some particles, some, you know, cosmic ray.
It's a field or something like that. I'm not saying, you know, where it opens a gateway, but then again, there has been in the Bermuda Triangle, they found pyramids down there. So at some point in time, I have to imagine that in that region, maybe pre-flood, post-flood, whatever, that region was active. And maybe they were using that area, you know, maybe with a pyramid there or something like that to harness the power.
What came first, the pyramid or the energetic part of man?
I don't know. Oh, why do they have to come first? Why can't they just spontaneously exist?
I do
EXE.
Think it's kind of a good kind of hypothesis to look at all these stone structures around the world and imagine that they are tapping into some kind of natural energetic grid.
I just have to believe that there's more to it than just like, what else do we do today? Let's build a pyramid. It's got to be more than that.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Absolutely. Look at the time that these people must have put into some of these earthworks, let alone building these monuments and things. And let's not even get into these massive, like, multi-ton blocks that we can't even lift with our big cranes today and things. Don't even get me started on that.
But a giant could.
A giant could.
You know, a giant could. Or, you know, maybe just levitate them. You know, or maybe just liquefy them and pour it in place cold.
I think South America, we see the liquefaction there. But, you know, I think...
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just all these different possibilities that we don't even begin to consider because of the boxes that we've created for ourselves.
If you can manipulate matter, I think that's, yeah, going right down to that molecular level. And then you can start shaping stuff like Play-Doh then, dude.
Yeah. And, when you look at the capabilities that probably existed then, you also look at least from my eyes, replication, where you can replicate or print your food, your items, your things like that. You're harnessing energy using these ley lines and whatever else 0-point energy they're tapping into. These things this is technology that we possess currently right now, but we don't take advantage of it because there's no money in it. And as long as there's no money in it, this is, again, why it's so important to have that conversation of transcending the whole money thing. We could have done that 150 years ago.
It's like yesterday during the conversation with Brendan, we were talking about exoplanets and alien life and how it may, kind of take form. And we were talking about radio signals, that leakage that we've had ever since we started broadcasting. And that's what we look coming from other planets, other parts of space. I was saying, if there's one that's a civilization, a species out there that's really a lot older than us, a lot more advanced, then there's a good chance that they'll know that almost makes them stand out like a sore thumb. And they won't have radio signals bleeding out the way. They won't be almost ringing the alarm bell that they're there. Or go the other way, Joe. Look at what we're talking about here. We're talking about a far more natural science that was being utilized back then, right? And it's different from our science today, but no less, better or worse. What if the other civilizations out there, and it's that random that you just don't know, but they might have gone that more natural kind of way as well. They might have communications where they're literally telepathically communicating with each other. Who honestly knows, folks? No chance of reading that coming up on Exoplanet. We'll be back after the break, hopefully, with Ryan Gable.
Yeah.
If not, he'll be coming. Don't panic. Ryan will be on the way from Con in the Desert.
Yes, Mr. Wookie, yes. I do agree with that, yes.
Oh, woof.
But, I differ with you on that one.
Is the Wookiees getting a bit frisky?
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, Hanson Robotics are saying they're coming out with like some Wookiee sex doll.
Is that right?
What next, man?
Wow. I mean, these fetishes are getting crazier and crazier. Joe Joseph here, Kev Baker. You're listening to Freaky Friday on your protection from deception, TFRlive.com. And of course, you can join the Wookiees in the Wookiee Cave, TFRlive.com/chat. And, let's go into a very special segment. Yeah. Since it is Freaky Friday and, we are going there. It's Hooger Beat watch time.
We need to know when the world is ending this week, Joe.
That's right. So Paul Begley has a week off.
Would have a magnitude 9 earthquake.
My bad.
Yeah. And so naturally, we had to go and dig a little bit deeper to find out who's pushing and peddling the end of the world woo for the week. And we looked at the schedule, and it's Frank Hoogerbeats and his turn in the rotation. So we went over to the Express, and guess what? Earthquake warning. Major tremor forecasted to hit tomorrow. Okay, so this was Wednesday. It's Friday.
Even a broken clock. A broken clock.
But Kev, this has happened before.
No, I'm telling you, Joe.
Oh,
a broken clock. You would keep the broken clock.
On.
It's all the time, man. But
Then
yeah.
if you had a last name like that, you'd at least get it right a little more.
Okay, here's my question then, okay?
Okay.
Now, the Express, they're the best example to use for this.
Okay.
Now, they see the content like this over on YouTube and on blogs and things. Typically, they would call this fake news, right? However, they can see it's clicktastic. And at a time when they've got dwindling viewership to their websites, here they go. They take the most dramatic, the most unverifiable stuff out there. They're able to cash in on the clickbait title. And at the same time, it's two birds with one stone, isn't it? Because, yes, they're getting eyes back on their content. And I think at the same time, they're trying to make anyone, and in this case, anyone that looks into earthquakes, i.e. your Dutch synths, Ben Davidson as well to a certain extent, I think it's doing them a disservice. And I think that that's probably why you see these tabloid, these red top websites linking to these questionable sources.
Do you think it's as nefarious as that, Kev? That they do that specifically?
I could go even more nefarious. Well, I could go even more nefarious then. I could say that perhaps the channels that they link to and the people that make these claims, if it wasn't for the coverage that they get in these newspapers, and I've had, video clips back in the day, years ago, that's been carried by the Express, so I know what it does for traffic. You're talking about 10 times the amount of traffic on that one video. So at that point, it then becomes profitable for both parties. So I could make a case for, and again, I've got nothing to back this up, but I can see how, they could be colluding. They could actually be working together. Why else go to the same source? But like I say, they usually go for the ones that are so ridiculous, so far out there, that anyone that wouldn't normally go to alternative media and they find a link to Hooger Beats or Begley going off his head about another blood moon or the next end of the world, they're going to shake their head and go, wow, crackpots.
Yeah, but at the same time, they have that kind of plausible deniability, if you will, because the author of said piece will often end it or put that in there, some sort of caveat in the article to basically say that they don't agree with it at all.
But yet they've taken advantage of the clickbait title. They know people want.
They know exactly. That's my point. So you can kind of see just how nefarious it is, and really that's a bad thing, because what ends up happening is you get people accustomed to seeing these types of headlines, so that when the real thing actually happens, they're caught unprepared, because by now they're numb to it and they don't even think twice about.
Look at the graphics of it, Joe. Earthquake warning, big capital, bold letters, and then major tremor forecast to hit tomorrow. So you're warning tomorrow, boom, you're going to click that. It's just human nature,
Yeah. And then, of course, you look at a critical situation is currently in place with the gravity of other celestial bodies in our galactic neighborhood tugging on the Earth, according to one earthquake mystic. Mercury, Jupiter, the Sun, Mars, and Saturn have all supposedly positioned themselves as to have a detrimental effect on Earth's tectonic plates. New Age earthquake forecaster Frank Hoogerbeats made the bold claim, believing the gravitational pull of said celestial bodies will cause tension to build in the Earth's tectonic plates and will ultimately be released in the form of a major earthquake.
I think there might be something in that on occasions if the right alignment happens, and maybe we're getting bombarded with cosmic rays at the same time.
Totally.
It might have that kind of, set up that optimum condition where
absolutely
pushing a pull, Joe. Don't get me wrong, but again, how many times has this dude been right?
I know, man.
Ones that say, well, he said there would be a 6 earthquake this, in this kind of location at this kind of time period. 6 earthquakes happen quite a lot these days. Remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Joe, a 6 would be big news.
Yeah, because,
8 down in Chile and nobody's talking about it.
So let's talk about that for a second, because it's very interesting. When these planets align, it's not just our planet that feels that tension that Mr. Hoogerbeats is talking about.
Brilliant, man.
It's also the sun. The sun feels it too. And sometimes these planetary alignments can cause a solar flare.
Yep.
Or a coronal mass ejection. And when that happens, and if it happens at the same time that tension is being exerted on our planet, that force, if you will, and then we get a CME on top of it, yeah, perhaps you will get one of those devastatingly bad big earthquakes. I can certainly see how the risk is increased. But to say earthquake warning, whenever a meteorologist or a geologist says warning, it means it's imminent. It means that there is basically no doubt that they have a positive, verified sighting of a tornado, or they have enough, let's just say the earth, they have enough rise in the earth.
I tell you, if Dutch sense was to come out and say warning,
I would take it at face value.
I would actually, I would listen to that. Very so, yep.
Me too. But that's the problem, is they're using that language, even though you agree that that phenomenon, that planetary alignment could in fact, and does increase the probability of a major earthquake.
But here we go again, right? Here
not a warning.
Here we go again. There's somebody taking advantage of the fact that there is some realistic kind of there is some tangible connection here. So in the past, Mr. Hoogerbeats has seen maybe his first video going mega viral, 100,000, 200,000 views.
Yeah.
And then he knows that anytime there's a planetary alignment, because you're the guy that looks for planetary alignments, you're going to make a video every time one comes out. And that's how it happens. And there's no criticism of Mr. Hoogerbeats, okay?
No.
Pointing out how some of the things work in what you would probably call the darker, shadier end of the conspirasphere.
Thank you so much. And this is important, when we start talking about mind control and how they basically shape your opinion, this is a great example. And I'm kind of breaking this down so that people can see how the way they structure the article, how they title it, and some of the things that are in there, how it's meant to control you and what you do and what you say and what you buy and all that kind of happy, crazy horse crap. And Mr. Hoogerbeats and the Express and everybody out there that participates in this kind of deceptive, prophetic crap. I don't even want to call it prophetic. It's basically, it's like fortune telling. That's what I kind of put this to, and not the good stuff. It's the bad stuff. It's like, what's that, Madam? What's her face? That $2.99 a minute, or whatever back in the day. It's that kind of crap, just not good. And again, it's going to cause major problems when one day there is a warning, but people don't take it seriously because of people like this.
No, you're right, dude.
Just bad news. Bad news.
I know people don't like us even pointing this kind of thing out, but if we don't police ourselves, I think it is important, because I'd hate for people out there to be fearful. And I remember Comet Elenin. That was one I can look back at myself. And I'm not saying I was fearful. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't like struggling to sleep at night. But I tell you what, that almost dominated my thinking in my life for a little while, because it was on my mind.
But a lot of people did, though.
Well, look, people that were running.
Not you personally, but there's a lot of people that even we knew that we were close with that fell for that hook, line, and sinker.
And remember, there was like people like selling cave space in the Ozarks. All you did was give over your financial details so they could credit check.
It was crazy, man.
And then when it didn't turn up, what happened was that they started saying, well, it's an invisible object then, and you can't see it. Right, we're going live to contact in the desert. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, joining us live.
How did you do? Like, can I ask you a serious question? How did you just do that?
You see, there's a little button comes up, and it's like a little arrow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, Ryan, how you doing, brother?
Ryan, great to have you here on Freaky, man.
Hey, I'm doing great. Can you guys hear me all right?
We can hear you.
Yeah. Perfect. Hey, nice shades, dude.
Oh, I know these were free from a hockey game like 3 years ago. I'm so broke. I use these like the the free glasses with the sponsorship on the side.
Hey, who cares? Take what you can
Tell
get.
the truth, that so that David Wilcock doesn't recognize you.
That's exactly why I have them on.
How's it going, dude? What's happening, man? Tell us all the latest. I was playing the little clip that we had with Clyde earlier on. When
That's
Oh,
fantastic.
you recorded that. I'm glad that you recorded that. That's awesome. You know, I'm getting a deja vu right now, but I was abducted by blue chickens this morning. I don't know if I told you that.
My.
Yeah, it happened. I got abducted right out of my bed. Seriously, though, all I've done today so far is I went to Clyde Lewis's talk, Atomic Alien Theory. That was a really good talk. Closed my eyes and was like listening to a radio show. You know, Clyde's always great. And then we went to Dr. Lynn Kiete, I believe is her name, the Phoenix Lights lady.
Oh, awesome, man.
Yeah, she had a really nice presentation. And then I've just been going around talking to people. Jason Quick came up and said hi to me, and I forgot that he even knew who I was. That was kind of interesting. I've had a lot of people come up to me and ask me questions, or they told me like, hey, we heard what happened with you and some other radio networks. We've heard you on other radio shows. People I don't even know. So it's been a really good experience so far.
Yeah, I had Jason Quitt on the show not long ago. Really interesting character. So you've been to see Clyde. Who else have you looked forward to seeing, Ryan?
There's a pretty extensive list of speakers there. It's actually really cool. Who out of all the people that you've seen so far, who would you say the interesting person is? You're muted.
Hang on. You're muted. You're muted.
No audio. No audio for us.
There we go.
We go now.
Oh, you muted yourself again. There we go. There we go, dude.
Oh, I didn't touch anything though. That's weird.
It must be the connect bandwidth.
Yeah, I think it is. Plus, you know, the chickens are after me still, so they don't want to talk.
It's that sphere.
Damn those pesky chickens.
You did.
It is the chickens. No, I don't know if I could answer that question. There are a lot of people here that I feel could fit that description, and the contrary of that description. So.
Wow.
But that's that's my opinion.
Right on.
And I was speaking earlier on about the fact, me and you were talking about Wilcock and things on a show, stuff like that. I mean, is there still a big kind of gathering for the blue chicken stuff? Are a lot of people still into that?
You know, I have actually heard from several people who have, let's say, famous names that they think Wilcock is full of shit. Can I say that on Freaky Friday? I'm sorry.
You can certainly say that on Freaky Friday.
Okay.
I totally condone that.
All right. I usually don't do that on radio, but yeah, a lot of people have said that. But I've ran into some other people that are just cool guys, cool girls that are just hanging out. And the people I've spoken to feel the same way. So it seems like, for whatever reason, bias or not, a lot of people feel that way. That's what I can tell you.
And I mean, to go to one of these events, I went to one in Glasgow, very small, very fair. It's good to meet real people, Ryan, and I think that's the one take away from something like Contact in the Desert.
Yeah, I just actually talked to a lady who I got to say was actually more believable as a TI and as someone who is supposedly in the SSP than Emery Smith and Corey Good combined. Just some random person that came up to me and started talking. And actually, interestingly enough, she actually had photographic evidence and scans of her body with microchips and things like that.
Well, myself and Joe were saying this is the problem with super soldiers and things like that. It's very hard to verify it, Ryan. So that's interesting,
Yeah, it is. I mean, whether or not it's true, she seemed very sincere explaining it to me. I just finished talking to her. But that little tiny conversation I just had, she actually bought one of my books too, was more credible than some of the big speakers. So for whatever that's worth, that was just my little experience, just walking around.
That's interesting, Kev. You think about it, that would be a really easy way to showcase or highlight physical manipulation, if indeed that, they went down that road of chipping or something like that, then a body scan or something that would show that would be good. But a lot of these super soldier type initiatives utilize things like magnetic fields, using electrical pulses in the brain to give him superhuman strength, even but for a short time. So some of this stuff, actually, there was no physical manipulation, which is why it's so difficult, oftentimes, to validate that super soldiers type stuff. That's what makes it so tough. Yeah.
And Ryan, of course, this is all coming hot on the heels of the Pentagon announcement, right? I bet there's a lot of talk of disclosure at this event. Am I right?
Yeah, Clyde had an interesting, let's say, theory about disclosure. But you know what? Interestingly enough, I haven't really heard that word used very much so far. I mean, we've only been here a few hours. I've only been to a few talks, but
give us a little teaser as to what Clyde makes.
Into what Clyde did?
Yeah, the kind of his take on what's going on with the disclosure word.
Well, in terms of disclosure, very similar to what you and I had discussed a couple of weeks ago. But in terms of his presentation today, it was about the history of magic and alchemy and creating the homunculus, the little man, through magical ritual ceremonies, and how that relates to the atomic bomb and using the atomic bomb to basically open up a portal or gateway to bring into our dimension a homunculus or aliens or whatever you want to call them. And then he gave a lot of reference material.
That's when we get into the whole kind of Jack Parsons kind of element, isn't it?
That was a big part of his presentation.
That stuff is riveting. That is absolutely
fascinating.
And hey, Kev, check this out. It's all recorded on DVD and whatnot. I actually might get a copy of that one. But I wanted to let you know that at the end of the presentation, a couple of things Clyde brought up. I added an element to it. I just said, you talked about, there was a word he used, I can't remember what it was called, but I said, well, you're talking about consciousness being and everything. And that's an old belief system called animism. So I added a few things like that to his talk about how when we write in cursive, it's like casting a curse, or we write letters, we spell words, that's spelling, casting a spell. And then I said, also, from the things that you're talking about, I think you heard the show the other day with Kev Baker and Geordie Rose. So I brought you up, and then Clyde ended up explaining Geordie Rose and Kev Baker to the audience, and then I made the point about what you showed me, the chip for the D-Wave looking like the Tower of Babel, and then if you invert it, it's like God reaching down to man, and that was actually part of Clyde's presentation. So Kev Baker made it into the presentation too. Just want to let you know that.
How cool is that?
That's super cool.
I'm just
all the way in Scotland, and you got to reach over here.
I know I'm going to have to come over next year, dude. But I'm taking a look down here, right, and we've got our very own Dr. Brooks Agnew, Joe.
He's there, huh?
Yeah. We've got Hugh Newman. Now, I hope you managed to see.
Now, Hugh Newman is fantastic.
Yeah, he does all the giants and the mega.
Yeah. He's right by my books over there, actually, next to Brad Olson.
Yeah, Brad Olson, another.
I haven't seen him yet, though.
And we've got Stephen Bassett. Now, there's somebody that's been working. Sure.
Yeah, I haven't met him yet either. Some people actually aren't even here yet. I haven't seen Richard Dolan. He hasn't even set up his table yet.
I tell you what, dude, this has got to be one of the strongest lineups I've seen at any conference. It's just name after name after name.
Can you say that again, Kev? You were breaking up.
Yeah, I'm saying when you scroll down this list here, it's just name after name after name. And then I come across Jordan Sather. Oh no!
Well,
I just saw. Oops, I accidentally did that. I'm sorry. I don't want to do any white power symbols on your show. But I just saw him in the hallway. I was going to go talk to him and ask him why he doxed my friend, but I ended up getting caught up with selling some books. But I'm going to go ask him that question.
It's okay. Just be careful. He doesn't kidnap you and give you a coffee enema.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Bad news.
Yeah. You never know what will happen. That's why I got it on film.
Well, what's the plan for after all the speakers then? Is there like some kind of barbecue?
Drug?
Is there like naked dancing girls and things like that?
If there is, I haven't been invited to it yet.
You see, you've not been inducted into the Order of the Blue Avian, dude.
The Blue Avian?
No, I'm not. I don't have like the blue feather pin. You have to have the blue feather pin to get in, so I don't have that.
Joe's got it. He's fully inducted, man.
Well, you have to understand that for years, I had like a 30. What was it? Like Johnny King was like what, a 39th degree wizard of the Royal Order of the Sleeve. And so he also he expertly wielded the Ask Us chat, and it was something else. It was something to be seen. Yes. So yeah,
You know, go ahead.
there's a lot of tomfoolery that goes on at these conferences as well, Kev. Just so you know.
Yeah, a lot of tomfoolery at these conferences, Ryan.
Yeah, well, you know, also it's like I've been asked several times, and I don't know why people ask me, but people have asked me like, so. Let me think of how to word this. People have asked me as if I'm an authority and I can give them an answer on like if aliens exist or something like that. And I tell people like, dude, I don't have any more answers than you. I might have some research and I might have some books and I've done some interviews, but unlike some people that will make claims without substantiation, I don't know the answer to that question. And people tend to respond very respectfully to that rather than someone just answering it to answer it.
You see, that scares the crap out of me, Ryan, that people tune into my show and they think that I have any of the answers. Because for me, it's just about looking at the information and, you know, hopefully we can all come to a better understanding after that. But again, you know, we know nothing. We're no more important than anyone listening to any of those talkers. And those talkers are more important than the people.
Yeah, you know, people can have experiences that other people haven't had, and people have, you know, research that other people don't have because they haven't done that research. But it doesn't mean they have all of the answers to all of the questions. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that, and at one point, I feel like I probably thought that very deeply. That if I just tuned in, you know, I would learn something. And that would be something that, you know, otherwise I wouldn't have access to.
But then again, Ryan, we both openly admit that we've never had a visit from the Men in Black, so we're doing it wrong.
Well, you know what, Kev? I don't know if you have time. I had a story. Now, I don't know what I would call it. I don't tell it because it sounds strange and it sounds like I'm making it up. But if you have like a couple minutes, I can explain a very strange story.
We gotta go to break. We gotta go to break, Ryan. But maybe after the break, because after that you'll have the floor.
Yes, you know, that's what we'll do. I'm like,
all right.
Yeah. Right, Ryan, see if you could mute up just now because it's really noisy.
Yeah, just for a couple of minutes while we take care of some loose ends here.
Dude, imagine being at Contact in the desert. I know, man, the Sathers and the Wilcox of this world, right? But they wouldn't bother me because there's so many good speakers there that I would want to see. The ones that wouldn't interest me, yes, let them get on with it. People want to see that. That's for them. They don't have to fight for me for a seat. I'm going to like Eric Von Doniken. Man, dude, Clyde Lewis.
Yeah.
What can you say? You know what I mean?
You know what? It's a wonderful place to be with people that are just as much into history and into tech and into all of these awesome subjects as we are.
That's exactly
such a great way to exchange ideas and information and life experience.
I've said it before, Joe, about Bilderberg. I've said it, you know, about these conferences.
Yeah.
It's the best place to go to really appreciate that so many other people are just like you. You're not alone. So many people. So we'll be back on the other side with more from Ryan.
It's the halfway point there, Mr. Wookie. And I tell you what, that Contact in the Desert probably has more audio level, decibel level readings than the space shuttle launching. I mean, it is absolutely mayhem.
How cool is this, though, man? During the break, we're getting to see Ryan hanging out with Leo Zagami, you know, rubbing shoulders with Leo, you know. It's just awesome stuff. And you're getting to see this Freaky Friday. And we're going to go live now, back to Contact in the Desert. We'll get Ryan to unmute at his end. I managed to mute you up from this end, Ryan, so you'll need to unmute from that end. And we'll get your story about it. Sounds like a Man in Black story here. Unmute, Ryan, unmute. And we're waiting. Unmute. You're on mute.
You can unmute that little smartphone.
Oh, we've lost him. He's dropped out.
Oh, he may have hung up and is trying to contact again, dude.
Well, I hope that's not the case because I'll have to hang up and start the full call again because of the way Skype's acting.
Well, if you want me to do that, just let me know.
Yeah, well, that's what we'll do.
Aye, Captain.
Just like that, we're back. There we go. Ryan, Joe, we have got you.
There we go.
And I think you're Ryan again now. Ryan, tell us your story, man. We got cut off by the break. We were laughing about Leo Zagami and you chilling out there. So tell us your story, dude.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. My iPad just froze, so I had to.
No problem.
That's what it was.
Saddle.
It's the TI thing again.
Sounds better now, dude. It sounds perfect.
Way better.
Great. Okay, so it was the iPad. I was trying to go high tech. Got to go back to the phone.
That's it,
so
dude.
Anyway, I'm sorry about that.
No. We're just dying to hear your story now, man.
Yeah. Okay. So I only told this story one time on air. I have no clue what it means or anything like that. I just know that I was in Tucson, Arizona, and I was doing a radio show. I was actually doing a pre-recorded show. And my studio, if I'm facing my studio like this, you guys on my microphone, I'm looking at it. And to the left of me is the window to my bedroom. And I just got a glimpse of something out of the peripheral. I saw this guy walk by. And the guy was maybe in his 50s, 60s. He had a kind of like a suit on, no jacket, but a suit on with a vest. And he walked over. And so I stopped the radio because I don't know why anybody's walking over to my door. It's a path right to my door the guy was walking on. And I look out and he's got like a clipboard and he's just staring at my door. He didn't have a hat or an insignia that said he worked for the power company, water company, gas company, anything like that. Just looks like an average guy, had a clipboard, just stared at my door.
Wow.
Not too long after that, in the middle of the night, I was staying up late one evening and I was watching some old television shows, some DVDs I had. And I heard a loud sound outside. So I went out to look at what that sound was. It's the middle of the night. It's about 2 in the morning, midnight to 2 in the morning. This all happened over a couple hours. And I saw this pickup truck that had pulled up very quickly. As I looked out, it had stopped. And this guy got out, probably in his late 30s, just T-shirt and shorts, pants on, that's it. And he got out and he starts looking around my apartment, which is a duplex. And then he walks over to where my window is down this pathway. And he does exactly what the other guy did, this older guy did. He just stares at the wall. Like he just stared. And I don't mean for like 5 seconds, hey, is this the right apartment at 2 o'clock in the morning, which is weird enough. He stood there and just stared at it. But this guy had a phone in his hand. He looked at his phone and then looked at the apartment. Looked at the phone, looked at the apartment. So that happened a couple of times. And I told my neighbors about it. And the neighbors directly across from me, they said, well, we just got back, or I just got back in town. They said, you just got back in town, so we didn't get a chance to talk to you because we've been out of the house. But the other night, somebody pulled into the driveway, which I shared it with my neighbor across the little lawn, or dirt in Arizona. It wasn't really a lawn. And this car pulled in, my neighbor tells me, and this is unprovoked. This is what they're telling me. This car pulls in and just sits in my driveway. Not like, hey, I'm turning around, I need to check my directions. Older car, black windows, pulled in and just sat next to my apartment for a very long time, they said.
Were you doxxed at all, dude?
No, nobody doxed me, but
That sounds almost like gang stalking and gaslighting,
Yeah, it does sound like a gang stalking. So I had that experience, and the weird thing that reminded me of the Men in Black is that a friend of mine named Jack, who co-hosts with me, totally unrelated. He said, by the way, I called him a day or two later, and he said, by the way, I was talking to a lady that I know who, I think she's kind of psychic or something, and whatever. And I told her about you and your radio show. And I said, oh, that's nice. What did she say? And she said, well, actually, she said that she felt like you were being watched by somebody. I don't know, man. This is what he told me, that she told me unprovoked. I didn't even tell him the story yet. And he said it felt like somebody was watching me, and that they weren't bad people or good people. It was somebody monitoring what I was doing to make sure that what I was doing was what I was supposed to be doing. And that's all that I heard or learned. So that, for what it's worth, that's the story.
What exactly are you supposed to be doing?
Maybe I'm supposed to be doing the radio show. Maybe I'm supposed to be doing the Kev Baker show. I don't know.
So nothing that you might.
Joe, this is what happens when you take on the world of blue chickens.
Well, I know that. I know.
They come after you, yeah.
Things get weird in the real
My
world.
question is like, was there any prelude to this where you had some sort of inclination that you were going to be visited in such a manner?
Have you done any shows that you thought might bring you heat?
Right. That's what I guess that's what yeah.
Okay. That's a good question, to be honest with you. I think at the time when that happened several months ago, I thought about 2 of the shows that I had done being controversial, but I've done so many controversial shows. I don't really think that's the case. I'd have to go back and look at that time frame to see what those shows were, though.
How about any other kind of instances where maybe gang stalking's been on the mind?
Yeah, big time. In fact, I had a roommate solve this one.
Really?
I was in Boise, Idaho. Actually, I had dated somebody, and we went to a hockey game in Boise, Idaho. We came back, and this is a weird situation. This all happened back to back to back. So we came back, and I was putting my bike away because I biked, and a car pulled up, and it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. This car pulls up. It's like an SUV, and there are 2 girls in it, and they're dressed like they're going to a club or something. Young girls dressed like they're going to a club, and there's a guy in the car who gets out, who's driving, and this guy, likewise, he's dressed maybe not as club-like as they are, but he's dressed, pretty nice. And I'm not exaggerating. Take it for what it's worth. My roommate said, "Hey, we got to get inside right now," because I looked over. And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, like, this guy's trying to climb our balcony. And I looked over, and literally they pulled the SUV up, and this guy is on top of the SUV. It's like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night on the weekend, too.
That's weird.
And he blatantly is literally climbing my balcony. So I go upstairs, and I screamed at him out the window. I told him I was going to shoot him. It's Idaho, so I can get away with that. And he said, "I'm just trying to find my sister's apartment." And I said, "So you climb your sister's balcony to get into her apartment?"
Yeah, well, I mean...
You try a door,
Yeah, or maybe even at best or at worst, yell up to him, "Hey, we're locked out. Could you help us out?" or something like that,
Throw her hair down or something like Rapunzel. You could climb up that.
But good grief, man. Just start climbing somebody's balcony. Yeah, you're lucky he didn't get shot.
Yeah,
you see, because I talk to TIs on and off air, and because I've looked at that subject, sometimes when things that I hear about this, it's going to look like a TI to me because I've looked at that stuff. But that definitely sounds more TI than the Men in Black,
Yeah.
I got one more for you guys then.
Okay.
Wasn't too long after that, I didn't think anything of it at the time, except it sucked. Someone stole my bike right after that. They chopped the lock off and stole my bike. My bike was a garbage bike. It was just a piece of trash that I had bought.
It's your bike, dude.
Yeah, yes. But there was a bike beside my bike that was not even locked up, and they decided to cut the chain to my bike and steal my bike. So anyway,
and it was probably nicer. Was it nicer than your bike?
No. No, they were both pretty crappy bikes.
So,
I don't know why they stole that, but for whatever that means, that was like sandwiched in between the balcony guy and then this next guy who, it's like 3 a.m. I just got done with the radio show, and at the time I was watching the Bryan Cranston Breaking Bad. So I'm sat down and I'm watching that, and I heard something banging outside. And there are, people got in fights in the parking lot of my apartment complex all the time. I just thought something like that was happening. So I turned the volume to the TV down. I'm very cautious, not paranoid. I'm very cautious. So I turn the volume down, right? And I turn around and I start hearing like the knob on the front door of the apartment jiggling. So I go look out the window, and there's literally a guy jiggling my door, and then he backs up and he starts trying to kick it in.
Get out.
That's not the crazy part, though. The crazy part is...
That's not the crazy part.
Well, I guess it's kind of crazy, but the crazier part, how about that? Crazier part. I called the police. They were very nice, and the cops come, and they get the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm watching out the window. This all happened where this guy, they get him. He tries to run. They grab him. They drag him back, and he had a duffel bag with him when he tried to break into my apartment. They emptied the duffel bag out. no exaggeration, the guy had, I can't remember what the number was, but it was like 5 or 6 pistols in the bag. He had like a gigantic bag of marijuana, and he had a bunch of like cocaine, like just big bags of stuff. And they dumped all that out on the right under my apartment where they got the guy, where the cop cars were. So he was trying to break into my apartment with like handguns and tons of drugs. Like I've known people that have sold drugs. They've got like little bags of things. This guy looked like he was transporting, he was a mule.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Like he got the wrong house. Basically, what it sounds
maybe
like.
A plant.
See, if you had tried to break in, I think that would have sounded like you were about to be set up.
I mean, I guess, but it could just be a simple, if you live in an apartment complex that's known for that kind of activity, then it's very possible that, it could just be a mule and he's dropping off firearms and weed and coke to be cut.
That's a party pack in Glasgow.
Yeah, that's a fun weekend right there.
Yeah.
But listen, dude, before we let you get back to your conference, I need to find out, what was Leo Zagami saying to you, man?
What was he saying?
Oh, well, he came over from Italy, and so he called me last night, and we just chatted for like an hour about the censorship and stuff like that. And he was really excited to meet me, and we were going to have a drink tonight, just sit down and talk, and so that's about it. And I never met him.
All the drinks that are going to fly at that place. Oh my Lord!
You must record that conversation for your show. Sit down.
Yeah.
Ozagami. Oh, dude.
Well, you know, my drink though, I got a bottle of water with like a fluoride purifying filter in it. So
that's the best way, dude. Because
that's awesome.
See those stories you were telling me? I would be watching my drinks for Rohypnol in case I wake up in some compromising position with blue chicken, something like that. Photograph of Ryan lying there getting molested by a chicken, man.
Especially considering some of the people that'll be there. Yeah. I'd watch your cornhole, buddy.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I was out there earlier, I was talking to a friend of mine, and 2 of her friends were there that she met here. And they knew about Jordan Sather and that whole doxing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of her friends turned around and she said, that was so funny. I said, what? She said, as soon as he looked over and saw you, he dropped his bag of stuff he had.
Sorry, boy.
Sorry, boy.
I'm telling you, man. No, but Ryan, all the characters aside, I'm so glad you're there. I can't think of a better person to have on the ground at Contact
and to be representing. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. And to take the time out to call us here, it's top.
Thank you, my man.
Notch, good, top notch. But
awesome.
Be sure and catch as many of these good speakers as you can. And to hell with the ones that we name and shame on a weekly basis.
If you feel it necessary to give Sather an atomic wedgie, I mean, I am not going to stop you one bit.
No, I'm gonna ask a question. I'll keep it
very nice, cordial.
I'll keep it unphysical. Cordial.
See, he's professional, dude. I'm not so much. We're
not so much.
Each other earlier, and I'm a bit like Ryan's friend. I go for violence first.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I gotta be honest. If you were here, I don't know. I might be influenced too.
I think if I was there, Sather would be on the first Greyhound bus out of the.
What a great example of group behavior and how people behave differently in a group than they do as an individual.
That's a good point. Yes.
Yes. Very good indeed. We would love to be there with you because we would execute a perfect atomic wedgie.
Well, when you got Clyde Lewis, telling you to come and he's using you in his presentation, it's only right I come next year, Ryan.
And
right?
It's only a matter of time, yeah.
You're
just going to be too big for that. You know what? You're probably going to transcend Contact in the desert, dude.
I'm going to ascend. I'm going to be out of here.
Well,
awesome.
We're going to let you get back to it, dude, but thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
And if you've got any last messages for the listeners out there, I'm sure they would love to know.
Yeah, just check out my show, obviously at thesecretteachings.info. That's thesecretteachings.info. I got books and T-shirts and all that. And I think I'm going to go have some Kentucky Fried Blue Chicken.
Nice.
Yummy.
And if you see Jordan, do tell him I'm asking for him. And got lots more Photoshops ready for Twitter.
Rapid fire.
Just do it.
Catch you later, Ryan. Love you, brother. You take care, man.
I love you guys.
Take care, Ryan.
Catch you later, bro. How cool was that, everyone?
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
No,
I love Ryan, and I can't understand what people don't like about him.
Because you know why Ryan takes a lot of stick, and I see it because I've had emails. Because he talks about Masonic kind of knowledge, almost insider knowledge, and the fact he knows so much about the dark arts, because he studied, the occult and all of the kind of rituals and the practices and the magic.
Yeah, so what?
Yeah, exactly, dude. But when you talk that way and you're not like ooga booga telling everyone it's pure evil and all the rest of it, people don't like it.
But that's a problem. You know what? It just is.
Yeah.
It just is. That's the thing is, you have to get all that out. You have to strike that from your thought process. When you're processing this stuff, don't look at it that way. Just look at it.
Yeah. And Ryan, he's the same as like Ike the other day. What you see on air, on their videos and on their shows and things, exactly the same of it, And myself and Ryan, we often share messages back and forth, not always about the stranger characters out there. He's just an all-round good guy, and he's certainly somebody that
That's why I failed to. Pardon me, I failed to see the Discord because he's such a likable fella.
Exactly, dude. And he's in his 20s.
20s. Oh, just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's why, you take minds like that, Kevin, you try to nurture them as much as you possibly can. That's one thing that over the years, people like myself, Popeye, we took certain people under our wing to get them going because we saw that there was something in them that they didn't see. And so we are today, yes. But he's another one. You just got to keep pushing him and pushing him and pushing him and encouraging him because the capacity to do so much good is there. You know what I mean? Oh, it's just it's effervescing in him.
Absolutely. And I'll be streaming tomorrow. I don't think Joe's going to be there for the Saturday stream, but that's cool because Joe is going out for a much-deserved romantic night.
First time.
I hope I've not jinxed it.
We had kids that were, Ange and I are going out.
That's fantastic, dude.
Oh, I can't freaking wait, dude.
I remember after the heart attack, that was the first time me and Anne had ever got to go out ourselves. Just me and Anne. Like it was before kids.
What was it like?
Horrible. We wanted to get home after we had dinner, dude, because we missed them so much.
Well, but that is removed from my situation because they're not anywhere near this place. So I couldn't do that even if I wanted to because it's already there.
Have you got the GIMP mask already talked? Is it ready to go for when you get home and things?
Hey, I got smoke machines, got laser lights,
disco ball,
trapeze.
Awesome, dude.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying.
What did the sexy brown chicken say to the sexy brown cow?
What did he say?
Brown chicken, brown cow.
It sounds like a Geo joke.
Brown chicken, bow wow.
That sounds like a Geo joke if I've ever heard one.
No, I actually got that one off the OA. Yeah,
that was fantastic.
Have you watched that show, the OA?
No.
I'm rewatching the second.
That sounds like a Just a Guy joke.
Just a guy. He's cool, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. But no,
definitely Just a Guy.
We talk about multiverse. We talk about many worlds theory. And what struck me when I've been rewatching season 2 in particular is the conversation with Geordie again, the parallel realities.
Yeah.
If you want to see a fictional take on how parallel realities play out and work out, the OA is a pretty good place to start. It's a really strange show. It's hard to get into. It's a bit slow to start with. But my, oh my, is it worth the time and the effort? Because
no, I did watch that.
Yeah.
Watch that. Yeah, because you did have me watch that. I just don't remember what the hell it's about because it's been so long.
Well, parallel realities come into
That's right. Okay.
Near-death experiences, things like that. Yeah,
you know what I just watched? You know what I just watched that was very much like that? kind of controversial, but at the same time, I thought it was pretty well done. Was oh God, now it's gone. John, what the heck is that? Dadgum. It's a Disney movie. Crap. Anyway, he goes to Mars, and it's made in 2012.
The Martian.
Yeah, but it's not Mars. It's not called The Martian. I'm looking it up now. Just give me a second because it's very. I thought it was well done.
Yeah, The Martian was only a couple of years ago, wasn't it? That was a good film. Matt Damon.
Yeah, no, I'm just waiting for my Netflix to load. It's going at 2,400 baud.
I hear the mice.
Do you?
Going, yeah.
Because it's really bothering me.
Baud rate. I remember baud rates in the military when we were trying to sync up like telegram equipment and things, dude. Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, let me see here. Because of course now it's not where it was. And
when we come back after the break, folks.
Yeah.
What we're gonna do is we'll let you know what the latest kind of
John Carter.
John Carter. I've not seen that one actually, dude.
Yeah, you should see it. It's pretty good. John Carter. Yeah, so it's on Netflix. It has to do with there being a civilization in Mars. This happens around 19th century, like 1860 something. And John Carter is a Civil War captain, and he's looking for gold after the Civil War, and he finds this cave, and he basically finds this ancient Stargate, if you will, that transports him to Balsung or something like that, which is the Martian name for Mars. And it's an unbelievable, dude. It's a pretty good story. And
Disney as well. And, you know, I don't know why. I think there's something to the whole Stargate thing. I just do. I don't know why. It's something.
Well, no, it has to do with like, it's not so much a Stargate as much as it's like a medallion that has the capacity or the power.
Yeah.
That's in the chat room. He's got John Carter up there. It's really entertaining, but it's centered around like watchers that basically decide things for. It kind of gives that whole you're not in control feel, which, you know, when you talk like, especially with Christianity's view of God, you know, oftentimes we'll say, well, we're not in control. That God's in control, or that, you know, he gave the watchers power, the fallen ones power over the earth. And in this movie, the watchers have pretty significant power, as you come to find out. And like I said, it's just I found it to be very thought-provoking, especially if you've done any research into spirituality and into you know, the history of exploration and things like that. It gives you a different viewpoint on these things and makes you think, you know, could there be a Martian civilization? Does it give more credence to the people that you've had on the show, Kev, that talk about breakaway civilizations and, you know, like a Martian colony, or, you know?
I'm open to. I am open.
Yeah. But I never looked at it in this way until I saw that John Carter movie. And when I looked at it that way, it's like, wow, you know what? That makes everything that I heard on Kev's show actually fit now. And now I can visualize it. And now I see what you're talking about. Now it makes sense. And now I could buy into that.
You see, I think it makes more sense that the breakaway civilization are probably still here on terra firma. And I say that they've got technologies and some of these underground bases and some of these facilities that we're not privy to. And I think that breakaway, I think they're still here amongst us. But at the same time, I can, like you say, Joe, there, I can open my mind and really, you know, sit and listen to anyone that has talk about stuff on Mars beyond, because we just don't know. We just don't know. And again, the important thing is, you know, if you're into that information and you find somebody that isn't, don't fall out over it, you know. You can sit and laugh and a joke about it, you can take it in. But the important thing, don't fall out over some information that you yourself can't even verify.
1 hour to go.
On the other side, and we'll get into the latest jaw dropper from Jones. Oh. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. We are live. Joe,
We
How you doing, man? We're back. 1 hour to go.
1 more hour to
Can you
go.
believe it? Again, I can't speak highly enough of Ryan. That really kind of changed things up for Freaky Friday. It was good.
I can't speak kindly enough of you either there, Kev. You've been doing a fantastic job and hitting home run after home run with these fantastic guests. So, yeah, and folks, that doesn't materialize. There's a whole lot of ass kissing that has to go on to make these guests manifest. And I can't find a better ass kisser out there than Kevin.
That's what you said the other night when you were listening to the Ike interview. You say, I really do know how to give.
You do, man. It's the accent. Just adds some flair to it. It's just fantastic. Phenomenal. I am just taken aback by your ability.
Costs nothing to be polite. Costs nothing to be respectful. And if you treat other people the way that you would like to be treated, you tend to find that things start to kind of manifest. So I think that's a big part of it, Joe.
You want to know one thing that I learned a long time ago is that, just like you said, but that everybody is reachable.
Oh, yeah.
They truly are. There's nobody. That's a big misconception that there are people there that are unreachable. It's not true. It's not true. But if you go ahead and, your intentions are pure, you find that these people are very reachable indeed. And it's just a matter of putting in the time and the effort and the things that you've done, in graphics design and learning all these different systems to get your multi-platform type of broadcast. It's really phenomenal how far things have come. And, this is a good example of what the tech can do in a good way, and there's not going to be a one-trick pony that's just good as this tech stuff matures and advances. There's not going to be just this technology that's just ultra pure good, and that's what you have. There's not just two, but multiple facets to this tech,
Exactly. I like to look at the advantages as opposed to the downside these days. I've spent years looking at the downside of it. I really have. And
you've got to study both sides, or all of the sides. It's not all good. It's not all bad. There's some in between. It's
even the individual stories, individual pieces of kit have got two totally different sides to them.
And multiple types of views. Based on people's worldviews of things or whatever. You view things differently, and use things differently. So, I could use Skype as a tool to harass people as much as we use it as a way to connect and network.
At previous years' Bilderberg meetings, recently in particular, you've had the tech giants and all of them. And I get that they're merged with the governments. It's the classical kind of fascism model, okay? And you're going to start seeing them at these kind of big, powerful meetings. And with Bilderberg, there's Davos, there's the World Economic Forum, there's all these other kind of places they go. But I think, Joe, that's one of the main things that they really wanted to kind of combat, the fact that we've been able to use this multi-platform kind of stuff that we've got now far more effectively than the mainstream or anyone else out there, hence the dwindling numbers. Hence, nobody like me, able to pull in a couple of thousand viewers or listeners to a show like this. That's what scares them, dude.
Yeah. That it's when you look at it like, okay, this is a decent sized auditorium we're speaking to tonight.
Yeah.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous to them. However, I will say,
when Ike was just like getting laughed at, and he jokes himself, when he was in Glasgow, he said, last time I was in Glasgow, I probably could have struggled to fill a phone box with the amount of people that wanted to see me. And even them, they wanted to laugh at me and throw eggs at him. And now he's like filling out 4,000 people at Wembley Arena. Glasgow, it was like standing room only. You could have sold that venue 10 times over, probably. That message, when you start bringing people together like that, which we do on this digital platform, we're doing exactly the same thing.
Every night.
Yeah. So it is, It's quite big what we're doing here. It might not be the huge numbers that people think, but thousands of people.
That's not
exactly, dude.
That's why I've always said don't focus. Don't focus on that. I remember hearing stories. Yeah, a lot of times when I was in the decision making process at TFR and before that Unbound Radio, and before that it was Orion, and before that it was with Doug Owen over. Oh man, it's just I could go back and back and back and back and back. But interestingly enough, through all of that, when hosts would come from rival networks, they would always boast of these inflated listener numbers, and I would have to show them and set them straight as far as, okay, well, let me tell you the real story.
I had to do that recently with a good friend as well.
Yeah, it's difficult to break that to people because they have these ideas that you get bigger than you actually are, and you got to stop that in its tracks because you can't make that your focus and your drive. Once that becomes the focus and the drive, you're distracted.
That's when you end up looking for every planetary alignment, like Hooger Beats. That's why you end up going the Q road, because you're chasing those views.
You're chasing the clicks.
I could make a video about CERN once a week and get thousands of clicks, but there's nothing to talk about CERN that I haven't said already. There's nothing new coming out of there. So it would just be forcing content for the sake of getting clicks.
Yeah, and even creating false content. That's the problem. And so you just put it in perspective, just like you just did. If you're talking to 4,000 people, and some Freaky Fridays, we hit that. That's Wembley Arena.
Yep.
Wow. That's
exactly.
Wembley freaking Arena.
I mean,
That's pretty powerful stuff.
I could not speak to a room with 40 people in it physically, Joe. I couldn't do that.
You don't have to.
No, exactly.
That's my
Without
point.
the internet, I wouldn't be able to do this because I'm not a great public speaker. I hate speaking in front of people like publicly when they're there in the flesh. But here, I can speak to you. I can speak to the world. It doesn't bother me. How can that be a bad thing then?
It's not a bad thing, not at all. But when you see, like I said, there's people that come over. Wow, 250,000 people tuned in every show. No, that's not what happened. And if that's your focus, then your focus is off. And it doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter what you talk about or whatever. Be passionate about whatever it is that you're doing, but don't let the numbers be your drive. It's just that simple. Let chemistry be your drive. Let knowledge be your drive, or whatever, but don't let it be clicks. Don't let it be the numbers.
And before I had a monetized channel, I've been on YouTube for years, folks. I've lost a couple of channels before I ever got monetized or anything.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. That monetization, that's one thing. But even just somebody with a YouTube channel, not monetized, no gain coming from it. It's designed to make you want to make more content and to get those clicks. Now, why do I say that?
Yeah.
Because it's exactly the same as the social media with the like button. They know that when you see your thing being liked or being viewed, you get a dopamine hit.
Yep.
You start to see your first video going viral. We're literally refreshing the page. You can't keep up with the amount of viewers. It feels good. People are watching what you've put together. Automatically, you get a buzz out of that. And then you want to get that buzz again.
And interestingly enough, we've gone full circle because I'm going to go back to Facebook. And you just said it best. What is Facebook's purpose? Facebook's purpose is intelligence gathering. It is to aggregate as much information about you as humanly possible. And what better way to get that dopamine hit than to do it amongst your peers on a social media platform, a friendly town square where no privacy is expected or provided because it's a town square, for God's sake. And this is what they do. They encourage the behavior for you to keep providing that information that they then gather to create a more robust picture of who you are that they can then sell to other people and other companies that need to know about your habits and need to know about your behavior and what makes you click and tick and what doesn't. And they'll know everything about you and they can tailor everything to you. And this is what it's all about.
And those 3 billion bot accounts that they kicked off just recently, I would love to see the analytics as to the IPs, where they were coming from.
Russia,
I would imagine
China, North Korea, Iran.
No, a lot of those bots would have been coming from Facebook.
I was going to say Alexandria.
The AI, that algorithm that wants to learn more, that wants to fill in the gaps. Remember, we're living in a time now where something called auto ML, that's a form of the auto machine learning, where basically it can create neural networks and sub-agents and things like that.
Would that be considered a bot, Kev?
It could create a bot account if it wants to go in and extract information, have a conversation, push you in one way, see what does tick your buttons, whatever. Absolutely, why not?
AI could actually create its own bot?
Yeah, that's what auto ML, I mean, that auto ML, that's when it's like, you know, it's rogue at that point because it's writing its own code.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's sick. That's AI for you. That comes from Google. So I don't know if Facebook algorithms are auto ML. I would imagine so. They're learning on the fly.
Sick.
I mean,
it is just, I shudder. I shudder to think where we're going to be in 5 to 10
you're not
years.
engaging enough, maybe, and this is a hypothetical scenario, but maybe you're not engaging enough. You know, it's looking at your connections, your friends around you, and it's filling up a dossier on them, your avatar, your digital avatar is getting the boxes ticked, you know, and everything.
Sure.
There's Joe Blogs over there. You know, Joe doesn't really interact with too many people, but we know he likes this TV show, and maybe if we, as this bot account that likes that TV show and just happens to live close to him or whatever, you know, whatever it knows it's going to really catch your eye, boom, accept that.
Dude,
and then all of a sudden,
pushing products on you. I mean,
anything.
Holy smoke, anything. They can do anything with these 3 billion bot accounts. They can make anybody, anything, do anything. Okay, I'm going to look for a pressure cooker.
Good thing, Joe, right? Think of it this way as well.
Yeah.
Any other company, right, that was caught fudging data like that to advertisers, they say they make all their money from advertising. This is what they would love you to believe. Trust me, if they were to fraud
not happening
advertisers by saying they get like 3 billion plus and whatever their normal count was, to inflate their numbers by 3 billion, that's outright fraud.
Fraud. That's criminal. Yeah, it's criminal.
Because you're telling advertisers then that you've got like X amount of billions of eyes looking at these ads when literally 3 billion of them are fake in the first place.
Fake. That's
so it's a racket. It's a racket. See, it's a racket, and there's the thing, because Facebook aren't making their big business, their big bucks off the advertising. That's just
it's selling data.
Yeah,
selling data is their racket, and they are making bank on it.
They are making bank on it, and I think it's time, Joe, that we unfurled our puke content for tonight, shall we?
By all means, because this is just gross, dude.
Last night we were highlighting the fact that a network that had once told us, you know, all martial law, bad thing, which it is, doesn't matter who's bringing it in under what guise, you know, doesn't really end well necessarily. But Mike Adams, he'd been talking about this, very passionately telling people not only to, you know, get ready for it, but to welcome it, to actually call for it so they could round up the deep state. So the first time I'd ever heard of the Bilderberg group was through Alex Jones, InfoWars, Paul Joseph Watson. That's where I heard about it first. Jim Tucker, he used to go on to Jonesy's show. And I think the first one I seen Jonesy at was one in Chantilly, I believe. And from there, started researching the Bilderbergers myself, went to the one. Daryl Bowles in the chat room, he went to the one in 2013 as well. And really, the world, because we had The Guardian, we had, was it Charlie Booker?
Charlie, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of kind of mainstream journalists that were covering this as well.
Yep.
John Ronson at one point, guy that wrote The Men That Stare at Goats. So to hear what you're about to hear now is nauseating.
Unbelievable. It's staggering. Kev, I just want to be absolutely clear. I am speechless over this. And I can't be surprised, but I'm disappointed. We'll put it that way.
You ready, folks? This is what Alex Jones now thinks about the Bilderberg meeting. And bear in mind all of his talk about the Bilderbergers and his Endgame films and everything else that's gone in the past. Get ready for the puke bucket. Here we go.
Well, but I want to give you my view on Jared Kushner. Now, here's how this works for me. I judge a tree by its fruits. And I've also always noticed that people that get involved in king's courts and in the subterfuge of access to a powerful person, it just goes from bad to worse. And so I've been sucked into those things when I'm not even wanting to be sucked into them, to the damage of my overall goal, just to promote freedom and awareness and decentralization and a pro-human future. But Jared Kushner is obviously smart. He's a good-looking guy. He's Trump's son-in-law. I support Trump. I think Trump's smart. Trump needs people he can really trust. He trusts Jared. And so I don't have a problem with him having a national security clearance and the things he's doing. I mean, my God, the communist Chinese ran the Obama administration, but, the left doesn't want Jared Kushner to have a security clearance. What does that tell you? But out in the whole right-wing sphere, I've been hearing for 3 years, since he was president-elect, that Jared Kushner is just the worst thing since gonorrhea. But those are the same people that tell me Benjamin Netanyahu is the worst thing since death.
Do you stop that for a second, Kev? Would you?
Israel's politics.
There we go.
Okay, so this is sad. What he's doing is
you do that because I'm going to find the bit that I really want, but that was a good preface to what's coming.
But do you see what he's doing, right? He's setting it up by using extremes when really, let's call it what it is. Kushner is basically a ruthless businessman who comes from a family of such that has made hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate, much like Trump and other endeavors. But I mean, he just is. He's not an evil guy. He's not Mr. Nice Guy. But for him, for Jones to come out and justify supporting this guy when, I'm all about freedom and this stuff. No, you're not. Not if you want this guy. Because he's not about freedom. He'll tell you that. That's not what he's about. So I don't want to, I hate it when they do this. They have sold their souls, dude. They have sold their freaking souls by saying some of the things that I've heard in the past 2 days from some of the OGs, dude. And I'm just totally and completely disappointed at their mindset here. It's awful.
Absolutely, dude. And I've got it right to the bit now. And well, we're about 5-10 seconds away from where I really want to hear this. Here we go.
I mean, this is incredible. The attack on Trump's all you need to know. They are pissed. federal plan is really upset that he's going to find all the stuff they've done. Now, all that prefacing, I'm done talking about Kushner, and I'm going to try to explain this very, very simply. And I know that some of the detractors will take it out of context, but that doesn't matter. This is for people that...
Now, folks, bear in mind, you're getting it in full context here. He's waxed lyrical about Jared Kushner being the best thing since sliced bread. He doesn't have a problem with him, like, working for Israel and things. But here we go. Here's the bit I wanted you to hear. And I want you to make your own mind up on what you think about this, okay?
Want to hear what I really think, and this is my best analysis and what I know. We published right when it came out from their own site, the Bilderberg Group's itinerary, and who's going to be there and who the guests are in Switzerland. When I was first covering this 20 years ago, they were saying in the news I was insane, it didn't exist. Even 10 years ago, they would say I was insane, it didn't exist. You understand? So it was the fact that they were saying that world government meetings weren't happening. That was the issue. Jared Kushner announced he was going to Bilderberg. Then people, I started getting flooded with calls and emails to the office. Oh my God, Trump sold us out. Kushner's going to Bilderberg. I'm going to say this. I'm going to be very clear. I would go to Bilderberg if they asked me to go. What matters is what I stand for. We know Bilderberg was set up to bring in world government. We know Bilderberg's at one of the top globalist meetings that they denied existed, that the Rockefellers ran, that brought the Atlantic alliance of the Western elite in the United States with the Eastern Western elite after World War II. We know the history. I've made films about it. Going to a meeting is not being on the agenda. Just like when Trump goes to Davos, it's more powerful than Bilderberg now. It's public. And they're calling for world government, and they're all wearing their EU things, and he's wearing the American flag, and we go and push our agenda there. Just like Trump meeting with Kim Jong-un doesn't mean we agree with Kim Jong-un executing, his ambassadors or his envoys. So it's a very simple thing for me to judge a tree by its fruits. Now, if Jared Kushner came back from Bilderberg or Davos or any of these events, and Trump suddenly signed on to open borders, or signed on to globalism, or signed on to world government, or signed on to confiscating guns, or signed on to teaching 5-year-olds, how to be gay or whatever, which is what's pushed by the left so you don't have kids, then I'd go after Trump in a split second.
Oh, how the tune changes, Joe, eh? How the tune changes.
I totally and completely disagree with him on that, and I'll tell you why. If I am a prominent member of a media organization or have influence over a lot of people, I guess in social media, what do you call it? An influencer?
An influencer, yes.
Okay. So if I'm an influencer,
which
I am
neither
not
of us are,
giving Bilderberg legitimacy. I'm not doing it. I will not participate. I do not consent to it. It violates the Logan Act.
Yeah, every other year it's been, every other year Jonesy's the first one to point out this Logan Act and how it's all against the road. Doesn't matter what they're talking about in there. That's wrong.
Do it. No, it's not that I don't want to talk to these people. Of course I want to talk to these people. But I will not give that meeting under those rules and under that secrecy legitimacy. I won't do it. You can't. That's why you fight against this stuff. You don't bow down and kowtow to these asses. You don't do it. You don't give it legitimacy. I don't care what you think you're going to achieve. It's like people going to Congress. I'm going to change it. Okay. Ask Ron Paul how that worked out for him. Look at him. He was about the best that ever was when it comes to influencing like libertarian values.
I wonder what Jared Kushner, said when Luke Radowski and all the rest of them got detained at Geneva Airport today. Wonder what was happening then.
Yeah, what did he say? Yeah, did he say, "Hey, let them go"?
This has been
my people go.
Worst year ever. None of them are even cracking a light, Joe, when they're walking from the planes to the cars. There's something different this year, and
That's
it's not that
I'm
we've
saying.
liberated. President Trump and Kushner have not taken back Bilderberg, folks.
But listen, seriously. You just said it best. Something is weird about this year because of the concerted message coming from independent media influencers is just staggering. I'm speechless. I'm in awe.
So Daniel Estulin, who wrote a book and who I thought was probably going to take over from Jim Tucker. He was always on this time of year pointing them out. Great guy, great research. I actually like listening to him. He's on Twitter this year. Nothing to see here. It's not as important as people think it is. You spent a career on the back of it, dude. Now you're telling us it's nothing? And now you've got Alex Jones coming out and telling you it's all good because Kushner's there. You've got Mike Adams telling you it's all good because we're going to have martial law soon. Yeah. What the hell's going on?
What the hell was that? That was like a steroid Wookiee.
You see, Scott didn't know where to tickle him, but I do. That's a bit creepy.
What did you do, dude?
That's a bit creepy. That was brown chicken, brown cow.
You freaking really pissed him off.
I don't know, dude. He doesn't like living with me. I don't know what it is. Chewy, you all right, man?
I can't wait till Scotty gets back.
Same here, dude.
Sorry, dude.
We're stuck with this broken Chewy until then, man.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, we've stopped dragging other hosts over the coals now, haven't we, Joe?
Yeah.
Our witch hunt is done for the week.
It is. And I want to highlight something that I never thought I would ever see, but it's happened.
Me actually slagging off Alex Jones? That's like a unicorn.
Close. Apparently, according to the Metro, another fine, reputable institution of truth and justice. Says a huge alligator smashed a window to get into a woman's house and then drank her wine.
Oh, what?
Yeah, pesky alligator.
Alligator.
An 11-foot alligator, right? Okay, could you imagine, dude? You're just kind of, hanging out. And it says here, smashed an apartment window with its snout, then wandered in and helped itself to the owner's wine. The enormous reptile broke into the house in Clearwater, Florida, in the early hours of Friday morning after forcing its way through a low window. It woke the homeowner up around 3 a.m., prompting her to come downstairs to see what was going on, only to find herself confronted by the toothy creature.
I'm laughing because there's a photograph here, but clever lady, because she's put the fridge in between her and the alligator.
Unbelievable, dude. She told Fox 13 that the gator got into his stash of wine, destroyed her kitchen table, and damaged her walls. Thankfully, the woman wasn't injured and doesn't own any pets, so the alligator went without a live meal. But what an unbelievable thing. And afterwards, the woman called out a trapper who captured the gator and relocated it. I'd have made it a handbag. Personally.
Yeah, this is when I was in Florida.
Yeah.
I made a boo-boo on the way over there.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was one of the kind of privates that spoke out of turn. And I knew I was going to get punished the minute we turned up in America. So what happened to me was I got put on crypto guard the first night we were there.
Right?
Yeah, so they had me out in the middle of this like dried up swamp in the middle of Florida, just off MacDill Air Force Base, watching the crypto in a field where nobody was ever coming. But the last thing they said to me was, be careful with the crocodiles. And I'm thinking,
Did you actually take that seriously at first?
Of course I did, dude. You're a Scotsman, you're over in America for the first time. I've seen the movies. I've seen stories like this before. Of course I took it bloody seriously.
Ding, ding, ding.
Absolutely, dude. But then when we did go to, it was one of the Disney parks, and we seen like my first alligator. Holy moly, dude.
They're ugly, aren't they?
Oh, man, that's a dinosaur. That's a dinosaur right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, they're just ugly spuds.
But the they ooze power, dude. Just when they're
They
yeah,
totally do, dude. When they open that mouth, you know, those snaggle teeth. Oh,
yeah.
you just think about getting chomped by that thing.
Snaggletooth.
Yeah, no way, no sir.
Oh, dude, no, I don't fancy coming. No, nah, that's.
So yeah, I personally am glad that alligators and crocodiles don't venture that far north, because I am not about that. Now, when I lived in North Carolina, they were in North Carolina, specifically like right in my neck of the woods.
Like, you used to literally live in the woods. It was like something out
in
of
the
the
woods.
Honestly, it looked like The Walking Dead anytime I spoke
And it
to you,
felt
man.
like it too.
Yeah,
It
dude.
felt, yeah, it was spooky. There's a difference though. You know, down there, it was very piney and very like thicket and, you know, prickers and all the nasty stuff. Up here in New England, it's a total different story where it's like predominantly maple and oak trees. You've got pine mixed in, but not a lot of prickers, not a lot of thickets. And it's just more palatable. It's like brighter. It's not that dark feeling that I had down there. You know, it's like, yeah, I've showed you kind of around with my camera, Kev, you know, that the trees here, it's just so much more green and alive.
Yeah.
Different. And interestingly enough, too, you know, the green and alive season in New England's only about 4 months or so.
You know what I think looks lovely?
What's that?
Portland,
Montana?
Oregon and Portland.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Oh, just beautiful, beautiful.
And it looks very Scottish type weather as well. Bit rainy.
Fukushima. You're all gonna die.
I think
Did I say that out loud?
After watching Chernobyl, and again, folks, check out that TV show. It's the highest rated.
I can't wait to watch that.
It's the highest rated show of all time, Joe. It beats all of.
Really?
Yeah. HBO. We're talking about it today.
I can't believe.
Well, I've been saying tan. It's almost. We talk about genetic memory, right?
Yeah, right.
There's something, and it could obviously be when you've been taught in school about scary nuclear stuff and all that. I get that, okay? We've been programmed. It's scary stuff. But I think there's something deeper. I think there's almost something. Well,
like
when
what?
you.
What do you think?
When you, like. Well, if you were to watch this, or when you, like, watched the kind of neutron beam that was coming out the top of Reactor 5 or wherever it was over in Fukushima, does that not make you feel ill to the pit of your stomach?
Oh, beyond, Kev.
There you go.
I was absolutely, I don't know what to say. Specifically when the reactor roof blew out.
Yep.
Remember when it blew up, mushroom cloud, and then the neutron beam and all that kind of stuff?
I get you get light flares and things, Joe, but that was real deal.
That was for Rizzle.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I had an increasing sense of my own mortality.
Yep.
And instantly I just thought about, what am I going to do with my kids? You know, it really, that's what it was. Oh my God.
Interesting as well that Ryan said, you know, that Clyde took this kind of nuclear angle to the whole alien topic. And,
yeah,
you know, I think that the way that we talk about portals opening up now, Joe, either with crashing particles together or with the D wave, that kind of quantum tunneling, you know, before then, nuclear, I think, in my mind, would have been a way of ripping open portals to other worlds, you know, ripping the veil. Because you're literally splitting things at that atomic level. So I can see why. I can definitely go down that road. And then you find out about Parsons and things like that and all that stuff.
That is an unbelievable story. Maybe, you know, I would love to get Clyde on to talk about that.
We could
version of his talk maybe on the air with us, because
I'll set it up with Ron, man. That's what I'll do.
I think it would be, yeah. And the reason is because it's such a fascinating topic.
Yeah. You're talking about the same magic that Crowley was using back when he was trying to open portals, you know? Just other ways, different ways to go about the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and the whole nuclear thing is just interesting, especially when you start looking at the nuclear tests and just how powerful, how they just kept going and going and going. And I'm sure if it wasn't for the public being outraged at the amount of testing that was going on, they would have kept going. I'm fairly confident
listen
they
to
would
this,
have.
dude. Listen to this. Epic in the chat room. Brilliant, Epic. Says, my ex-fiance actually tried to get me to marry her friend from Ukraine to get her to America because she was sterile from Chernobyl and was worried she had worse things wrong that they might be hiding. Now, this is one thing that comes across in the TV show, and I get it, folks. It's an HBO series. It's about Russia. So they're not exactly going to paint them in a good light, but I think it's quite fair because when you see the kind of way that they treated the people,
it's deplorable, Kev.
Oh,
Deplorable.
Joe, it's beyond mind-boggling.
You know, Chernobyl, a great example of people that. Remember, I talked about that documentary on Sweden and how they were really teaching everybody prepper type stuff. And I just found it fascinating. And it's such a wonderful thing that they're doing. I don't care what their reason is.
That should be that's a no-brainer.
You can't go wrong. You know, it's a slam dunk to have your population to be able to mitigate some of the stuff that we face as humans living on a planet hurtling through space. This is what you have to deal with sometimes, and you cannot expect the government to bail you out or help you out. You just can't. You can't. And Chernobyl is a great example. Also, Katrina here in the United States. It might as well have been a nuke that went off in New Orleans. You know, it doesn't really matter. It was epic damage, and the government did a horrific job of providing for the people affected by Katrina. I mean, it was awful, awful. So,
and unfortunately, at some point, you know, whether it's our lifetime, Joe, hopefully not, or you know, our kids, there's going to be another one of these disasters.
Oh yes, undoubtedly,
it's inevitable. You know,
look at what happened with the tornadoes. You know,
now look, at the same time, though, Joe,
billions of dollars in damage.
At the same time, though, Joe, we have to also say that, you know, with the amount of reactors that there are around the world, okay, you
scary.
know, when you look at the safety, then, though, the actual big events that we've had that have led to these things, the Fukushimas, the Chernobyls, you know, it's actually, I suppose you would say, it's one of the safest industries out there, right? Because
I think that the numbers are quite skewed. I will put it that way. I know it being
the
in
reason
manufacturing.
the reason I say that though, Joe, is because these things are working like 365 days a year.
I guess when you put it in its totality and you start talking total hours, you're probably
statistically, you know, that big major event, it's quite uncommon. Again, it only takes one bad event for the whole place to be, you know, gone. But again, it's not that I want to be damning on the nuclear industry.
No,
you know?
Of course not.
But at the same time, like we started this conversation, I think there's something ingrained in us. It's like you hear about UFO sightings around nuclear installations and things like that back in the day. It's almost as if, you know, there's something there. We can't remember how it affected us in our past, but somebody knows that this isn't the road to go down. You can look at the kind of evidence, the glass. Was it the Gobi Desert, where it looks like there's already been like some ancient nuclear device going off?
There's that Indian document. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, the Maharata or something like that.
Yeah, right. And it gets into these nuke style weapons that they had in the last age, you know, and that, I mean, again, you know, history repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to imagine, you know, one of these times we'll get it right.
Well, epic in the chat room. Yeah, Pakistan and Daryl, 3 Mile Island. I couldn't remember that one, brother. Great shout. That's the other big one. Yeah,
that was a biggie.
Pakistan, and of course that's where you start hearing about the Vermanas and all that stuff as well.
North Korea had done so many underground nuke tests that they actually collapsed their mount that they were doing it, and so it threw all that stuff
And
up
that's
into
how,
the atmosphere.
that's how we were able to detect when they were doing it, because they were setting off earthquakes. It was that
seismic
bad.
activity, right? But they did so many that, imagine that, they collapsed a mountain. That's freaking pretty unbelievable.
And I'm sure South Korea would have told us, right? But can you imagine the dust that might have been thrown up from that?
That's what I mean. How reckless. And I, for one, am surprised that there isn't more outrage on a global scale, considering the amount of health effects that we've already experienced due to it. I can't believe that the public isn't more pissed. I don't mean government. I mean public, like people. We should be very up in arms about this. Look it over in California. You've got the fish, the starfish are melting, and the sea cucumbers, and they've got like a lot of genetic defects in the sea lions and the dolphins, and the tunas have like eye sockets bleeding, and the tide pools are empty now. I mean, it's crazy. Reproductive issues, all these things are happening. Even the Japanese fishing fleets, they're getting more and more aggressive with each other. I just saw this thing about Chinese fishing fleets enslaving people through these job seeking services. They go ahead and they promise, you get paid X amount per hour, and then a percentage of the take. And, but they never get paid. And they're basically treated like slaves. They were drinking the condensation out of the condensation line of the air conditioner.
Whoa.
Yeah, for water to subsist on. I mean, that's the kind of crap that these companies are employing to make their margins and their profits, because it's getting harder and harder to find the fish because of overfishing, but even more importantly, because of the poison that we're throwing in the water and making these fish sterile. And so it's getting to be very tough in the Pacific Ocean.
Very tough.
Yeah, I mean, they're resorting to conscription and like slavery to do this. When I saw that piracy stuff about the government buying pirated or Chinese-made cargoes, right? That's what made me think of these kind of things working together. These are things that a country that is having disagreements, especially on the economic front, this is the kind of stuff they will do. When these kind of things happen, when these economic wars occur, this is that collateral damage that happens. And I'd be very concerned about future events, especially on a tech side, because of China's capability. On the whole, they can kill satellites. They certainly possess the technology like 5G and the like cyber attack capability to be able to do things. Then you think about like holographic stuff.
Way ahead.
Like Bluebeam, Kev. They are more than capable and possess the technology for that. And, we can talk nukes. I don't think anybody would be that stupid to take it that far. But then again, at this point, I mean, anything's on the table. Stranger things have certainly happened.
I'm surprised they haven't developed the neutron bomb yet. That's a lot cleaner.
How do you know they haven't?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, though, Joe. Right? From what I remember, that's not going to leave any radioactivity. It's going to kill all biological life. Anything biological's gone. But your infrastructure, all your buildings, I mean, from a military standpoint, they're ready for you to just march in and take the place, right?
Yeah, it's done. Anything organic, see you later. See you bye.
Makes you wonder why they haven't gone, and like you say, maybe they have, World War II, we've seen the first nuke. Maybe World War III, we'll see the first neutron bomb. I don't know.
Like maybe not a bomb, but a beam.
Yeah.
Like a neutron beam.
Wow, dude.
I mean, if you think about it, wouldn't that be...
It'd be the ultimate military weapon. And I don't mean to say that. And I appreciate, I'm talking about genocide on a huge scale here with that kind of weapon.
Do you imagine? I mean, but if you think about like could you develop something on that scale? Yeah, and no one would know. I mean, I couldn't imagine.
Well, you're not going to get the radioactive signature that might come up from a test.
Right.
If you don't do it underground, or if you do it underground somewhere where it's seismic anyway and you've got a deep underground facility, well, how would you know any difference?
That's what I mean. Or even like a CERN.
Yeah. And
what was
remember what CERN was? Yeah, remember what CERN was? It was the Center for Modeling, Simulating Nuclear Explosions, you know?
There you go. What better place to develop a neutron beam weapon, you know? I mean, think about that. Directed energy weapon? What better directed energy weapon than a neutron beam?
Well, you think about it, Joe, right? We've got the linear accelerators now. We can use the one at CERN, the Awake. And if you've got some way of stripping down to just produce a beam of neutrons then, and I'm no physicist, I'm no real scientist, I don't know how it would work, you know, but that you know, almost like a particle accelerator weapon, Joe.
Exactly. Well, that's what it is, though, right? I would imagine that's what you would do. It have collisions that would be able to harness that kind of energy.
Yep.
I guess it gives Ghostbusters like a whole new meaning, and you just have to have one of those shoulder-mounted particle accelerators.
Well, good movie this weekend for anyone who might be wanting to, you know, chill out, go to the theater or whatever. I hear Godzilla's meant to be pretty good, and I got this from Alex Jones. I'll be quite honest. I wanted to tune in today to hear what was said in the aftermath of Mike Adams yesterday, but he was talking about how we talk about revelation of the method, Joe, and Hollywood, and the association between the Pentagon and Hollywood. I mean, the Pentagon have got a media arm that work on movies and things. But Jonesy says this is almost like they're showing you the future tech, the breakaway tech that they've got in the underground labs. And he says from what he knows from his insiders, I'm only relaying what he says. I can't do it half as good as the Mad Texan. I can't do it half as good as the Mad Texan. But some of the things that you see in that movie, he says it was jaw-dropping because it talks about a faction within government that wants to carry out mass depopulation.
Which movie is this now?
Godzilla. New Godzilla movie, yeah.
And it's in theaters.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says it's almost like the storyline from Endgame, like the depopulation.
Maybe Ange wants to go see that, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, Godzilla. I mean that originally. I mean that was like the nuclear threat, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then like Godzilla was a product of that radiation.
Yep.
Yash.
Yes, we're almost out of time, man. But listen,
I can't believe you and I have done 3 hours of freaky, fun-filled, festive, fanatical.
Happy $5 fun time.
Happy $5 fun time.
No, but we had Ryan as well. We have obviously a big shout out to
fantastic.
Ryan. Yeah, and
I can't thank Ryan enough for taking that time and just giving us a taste of Contact.
And it's always nice to know that your show's been brought up at Contact in the Desert.
Contact in the Desert, yeah, Kev. And, you know, again, that's a testament to you and your hard work.
No, that's how cool Clyde Lewis is, you know. That's him. Some of these bigger names, the Jonesies out there, you think they give credit where they get stuff from? I don't think so, dude.
Yeah, no, but you've done really well. And you know, I would take full advantage of that. So
no, because it gets harder now.
As much as we can. Make sure you get as much as you can. Be shameless as hell.
Dude, it gets harder now. Because June's right around. It's June already here now, right?
Well, you know.
So now I've got to step up the game.
That is just absolutely appalling. That Jones would sink that low, but it is what it is.
Maybe I'll reach out. Maybe I'll reach out and get him on. Maybe I'll try and get Jonesy on there. No, Jonesy.
No. At this point,
Don't worry, I wouldn't do my fanboy. I know I'm the easiest interview in the world, but maybe I might challenge him just on some things.
Just don't do it.
Nah.
Just don't do it.
But folks, I'll be on the live stream tomorrow if you want to come and join me. I believe we'll be getting Ryan live from Contact in the Desert again.
Hey, maybe see if you can get Clyde on to do some live streaming with you.
Yeah, we could do.
Why not? Hey, see if he'll fill in for me, would you?
I'm definitely going to.
Hey, hey, get Clyde for me, would you?
I'm going to reach out to Ron and see if Clyde will come on and talk to us about this.
Could you imagine? Yeah, hey, filling in for Joe Joseph tonight's Clyde Lewis.
David Icke filling in, though.
David Icke filling in tonight for Joe Joseph.
I could get Geordie back again and lose another 1,000 subs.
Yeah, just get David Icke to hang out.
Oh, shut up, Joe. You started this. You started this. London Olympics 2012. He dragged me onto radio, kicking and screaming. So it's your fault.
Oh, I'm so.
You created the Godzilla that I now am.
With your progress. The radiation treatment has gone quite well.
Yes, it is, yeah. How do you know they used to call me Radiation Man in the Army?
Well, because you kind of look like you've been radiated about 1 million times.
Yep, you're right there. But folks, we're almost out of time.
We are almost out of time, Kev. And anybody you got coming on next week?
Like I said,
can you think that far?
Like I said, June is going to be a strange month because now I need to try and top last month.